Yes, people, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday. It is the 25th of August, 2025, that particular version of the day. And guess what, guys? It's a lovely day to wake up. It's beautiful outside. Beautiful outside. I just opened my eyes, got myself a cup of tea, because we might have ourselves a cheeky little bomber. With regards Piero Hincapié, an absolute legendary signing, if this one can be pulled off. I didn't expect it to happen. I thought there's no chance of it happening. I was pretty sure that if and when any bid was going to be made by Tottenham, that they would immediately get gazumped. They would immediately get played by a team like Liverpool, a team like Chelsea in the Premier League, potentially teams outside of the Premier League as well. As the news dropped last night that Hincapie has essentially said he wants to leave. He wants to go overseas to a new project outside of Germany. And I put a tweet up saying, ladies and gentlemen, we have to have a crack at this. It's going to be a difficult one to do, but we've got to have a crack. It makes absolute sense. And even if people are saying, and it's not a priority, I kind of think it is. It is just as much a priority as other areas. And I'll give you my credit, give you the reason as to why I think that statement has credibility, guys. I think that if Tottenham Hotspur are going to do bits in the league this year, we've got enough about us to play against, half the teams in the Premier League at home, 3/4 of teams at the Premier League at home. But in certain games, we are going to want to play a back three model. The problem with playing a back three model as it currently stands is that if you're going to play Van de Ven, Romero, and say a Danso, then you have no one on the bench. You have no one on the bench if Vuskovic is going. You have Ben Davies and you have an injured Kota Takai. Doesn't really give you any options. Dragassin's out for months and months and months. So what does that leave you? It leaves you with the eerie feeling that you can't really do it, because if there was to be an injury mid-game, then you immediately have to essentially pivot your strategy, because you're playing your entire option. You're playing your full card, your full deck of defensive options in a system that there's no backup for. And so you'll have to pivot early. Doesn't make a lot of sense. And so it limits your ability to do it. We tried it in the PSG game, but we didn't do it at Manchester City. Why didn't we do it at Manchester City? It doesn't matter. It worked out not doing it at Manchester City. But was that tactic by design, or was that tactic by the force of hand because of the injuries that we had? Well, you go and bring in another defender, and I'm sure Kota Takai was supposed to be the guy, but apparently people are saying he's going to be out until September, out until Christmas. I don't know if that's true or not, but you've signed the guy with a chronic injury. So then what do you do? Well, you go and get yourself another centre-back. And I've been telling you guys all summer, the market is super dry for the left-hand side. Super dry. If it's not Hincapie, it's Castello Lucaba from Leipzig. There's not a lot of other people out there. Or you go and get the fella from Brentford, but he's a young cat. He's been made captain. So very, very difficult to do. Anyway, how's everyone doing? Smash the like button, smash the subscribe, hit the notification bell, and drop a comment or two. We got lots to talk about this morning, guys, because not only has Tottenham put in a bid for this guy, I want to show you the state of that as well, but we've also had a bit of bad news, in as much as we did go after Nico Paz, and it hasn't worked out. Nico Paz was the 70 million euro bid for Nico Paz that has been rejected outright. And essentially, according to Romano, he doesn't want to leave. He wants to go to Real Madrid. Real Madrid want him. If there was going to be any sort of offer accepted by Como, then it was going to be matched by Real Madrid, and then Real Madrid were just going to take the guy anyway. So we can forget about Nico Paz. We moving on. But let's get back to the bit of fun, shall we? Let's start the day with a little bit of a mini bomber. Let's have a look-see. This is what happened last night. So the story came out. I'm going to come and say hello to the chat in a minute, by the way. I'm going to come and say hello to the chat in just a little while. Plettigol, the guy who knows a thing or two about German football, he said, I don't know why someone's giving him Spurs Global giving him a tier 2. He's definitely a tier 1 when it comes to German football. Piero Hincapié has decided to leave Bayer Leverkusen if a suitable offer arrives. The decision has been made, and he has a 60 million euro release clause, so about 50 million pound. I put out straight away. This was late last night. No brainer. Have a crack. See what happens. He won't be short of options, but trigger the clause and pitch the project. To which, a few people liked it, but we also had a lot of people saying, come on now, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Never going to happen. Anyway, then this morning, guys, we've got, where are we? Where's my, I'll just look him up instead. Here we go. Fabrizio Romano. I shouldn't have said here we go because that sounds disingenuous. Here we go. I said it again. It's too early for me. Get that bug out of your throat, Butler. Exclusive. Tottenham approached Bayer Leverkusen for Piero Hincapié with a new proposal. Interesting, said new proposal. Does that mean it's not the first proposal? Don't know. What are we thinking? Loan deal with an obligation to buy around 60 million euros, the same value as the release clause, but to be paid from 2026. Hincapie wants to leave Bayer, and Tottenham Hotspur FC also started discussing personal terms. We're already in the personal terms space. And I hope that we're quick on this one. I really do, because this happened quick, right? So last night, out of nowhere, Hincapie wants to leave. This morning, Tottenham is straight in with a loan plus an offer, a loan with an obligation, plus we're discussing personal terms. Have we learned any lessons from the situation with what happened with Morgan Gibbs-White? Is the fact that Plettigol came out with that exclusive 12 hours ago, is that because Tottenham have been having these discussions in the background? Is that the reason why we've been sort of suggesting all week, all summer, that we're looking for a new centre-back, and at the same time, guys, we are also looking to let go of Vuskovic, which has been a head-scratcher for everybody who's been talking to me and who I've been talking to, that if there is any sort of, you're trying to do joined up thinking here, boys and girls, and I would hope that the proximity of, out of nowhere, Hincapie says he wants to leave, and then the very first thing you get to when you wake up is a Tottenham have made a proposal. There's two things going on. One is, I hope that that's because Hincapie's had a conversation with Tottenham and he's prepared. He's okay with it. Two is, I hope we've got our eggs in a line here. Our ducks in a line, rather. Why did I say eggs? I haven't had breakfast yet. That must be why. Are we getting our ducks in a row and making sure that we can have that conversation, go to Leverkusen and get it done with confidence? Because we know that Liverpool and Chelsea and a bunch of other clubs that will still be looking. He's a brilliant player. He's not going to be short of options. I'm not getting my hopes up on this one. I'm definitely not going to get my hopes up until this one is a here we go. I'm not in any way, shape or form going to get my hopes up, because if we sign this player, he is a ridiculously good player, and ridiculously good players who are also very scarce in their resource because of the left-sided, left-footed conundrum. There's not that many of them out there. Well, if one comes available, then everyone's sniffing around. Like Bastoni, right? If Tottenham ever had the chance to sign Bastoni, I guarantee you many other big clubs would have been there as well. If we're talking about left wingers being the most oversaturated position in football, because everyone who's good is a dribbler, and most people that are dribblers are right-footed, so therefore they want to cut in off their left. If that's the truth, then the rarest position in football is a left-footed, left-sided, versatile defender that can play left-back and left-sided centre-back. Now, I'm going to work, just for the purposes of the day's content here, the conversation, I'm going to be talking about this as if, like, let's presume that it's happening, but I'm not saying it's happening, just so that I can talk to you about how we can use this tactically and what we can then do with a Micky van der Ven in a back four, what we can do away at Real Madrid in the Champions League if that's what we get drawn against. So with this addition, it's arguably just as important, in my opinion. I know everyone else says, no, 10 and a winger. And I used to think the same way. And I do actually, sorry, let me say that again. talking too fast for my own brain to catch up with me here. I still think that a left winger, is the priority for the balance in the output and the outlet. 100% I do. But I think that this position is not deprioritized to like an afterthought as much as I probably suggested previously, because I think I was saying all that stuff before I saw us go to a back three at PSG. And then ever since then, I've been starting to consider exactly what we can be working with if we were to get someone else in, or if we were to get these players back. But because I didn't see any return of Kota Takai and Dragusin, I'm working under the presumption that we're playing back four more often. But now if we can get this guy, it changes a lot. It changes a hell of a lot with regards to tactics. And it also means that in certain games, you're not going to need the 10 that everyone thinks we need. Because you can play with a third centre-back. You can get your width out of the wing-backs. You get your creativity down that side. It means you can put two men at the top in target format fashions like a Richalison and a Kudus. And then you have a Porro and you have an Udogie or a Jed Spence on the left-hand side. And then you have that monster three at the back of Van der Ven, Romero, and a Hincapie. I mean, there's so many connotations now. There's so many connotations of what happens if you sign this guy. The problem for me, though, just to get back, before I come and say hello to you guys in the chat, the problem for me is if Tottenham are the reason why he's suddenly come out and said, I'd like to leave, and then the next day you go and put in that offer, unfortunately, Ten Hag doesn't want to lose the player. And so putting in a loan with an obligation that matches the bid, whilst it's idyllic in that it leaves you with the cash to still go and do what you want to do with Savio and Paqueta or Agliuche or whatever, in an ideal world, it would be sensational to get this done with a loan and then 60 million quid obligation next year with payment terms. But doing it that way, once again, leaves the door open to other people to come in who might have been like, oh shit, didn't know that was going to happen. Tottenham are in, that's not happening. And then Liverpool come in or Chelsea, and then you know what's going to happen in that regard, right? You know what's going to happen. So as much as I'm delighted with the news that Tottenham are having a crack at this, and I think it opens our tactical and structural flexibility to play with so many different options now. The reason why I'm very nervous is because once again, I think, and I can understand why we're doing it this way, totally understand why we would want to, in an ideal world, do it this way. But if Leverkusen come back and say no, then you're going to have to trigger the release fee to stop any more ability to delay, to dither and delay and to be fucked around. And Leverkusen won't have any option but to accept. But if you're waiting and hoping, then unfortunately someone else might pick up the phone to the agent and say, don't go there, go here. Now, that might happen anyway, by the way, even if we were to have triggered the release fee, even if we were to have triggered the release clause, right, straight away, it doesn't mean that the agent isn't picking the phone up and shopping him around to Liverpool's and stuff, because let's be honest, Hincapie would rather, and is more than qualified to go to a top team in the world. And Tottenham aren't a top team. Tottenham are a very good team, or a good team, however you think about us on the spectrum, but we're not a top 10 team, are we? Whereas Hincapie could be a top 10 team player. Top 10 team player. That works. Alliteration before 10:30 in the morning. How about that? How about that? You don't get that everywhere else, do you? You don't get that everywhere else. Let's see how everyone's doing. 1,000 people in the house, guys. Smash the like button for me. Morning, James. Morning, Nathan. Good to see you. Good to see you. Morning, Ronnie. How are you? Hope it goes through. So do I. I mean, we need this one, don't we? It's big, Jessica. It's real big, baby. Let's go. Morning from South Africa. Morning, Rainier. Good to see you as well. Levy's offered 20 million plus Hill. Well, Bryan Gil, by the way. Bryan Gil, apparently, Girona, who had an obligation or an option or something to buy him for like 15 million euros this summer. That didn't work. And now they want to buy him for free. I'll tell you what I would do. Right, Girona are part of Manchester City's sister club network, like the City Football Club, City Football Group. What I would say to Manchester City is, I'll tell you what we'll do. we'll do 70 million euros, right? And to sweeten the deal, I'll let your Girona have Hill for free. You know, write down the asset that way and see if that's enough of a value grab. Because Bryan Gil could get back up to be 40 million euros again if he stays fit and does well in Girona, right? He's still very young, so there's a way of doing it that way, I guess. But the audacity of a City Football Group club having an agreement with Tottenham, not activating it, and then coming back and saying, yeah, I'll still take the guy, but I'm not paying you a fucking penny. Absolutely outrageous. Morning, Diacon. Morning, Brad Hares. It's not my bomber. I'm not saying. Listen, I'm pouring a lot of cool heads on this one. I'm begging for cool heads because I know what will happen if we don't get this over the line. This will be another catalyst for a Levy meltdown. When in reality, like, the chances of this happening anyway are next to zero. And then I'll be the one that's accused of being a Levy defender when I'm saying from the get-go, we shouldn't be expecting this. This, if we get this done, this is a wow. This is an unbelievable bit of business. Unbelievable bit of business. But it would be the equivalent. It's like the defensive equivalent of a Rodrigo. Like, don't expect it. Laugh it off. Give it no credibility. But then don't then use it if it doesn't happen as a reason to smash Daniel Levy over the head because it's unreasonable. And then I get called the CUNT for saying, what are we doing here? You know? Not that I care about what people say about me. I'm just saying, but like let's put it into the perspective of what it is. Right? He's a top draw centre-back. And he is rare commodity, left-footed, can play as a left-back in a 4, can play as a left wing-back in a 5, can play as a left-sided centre-back in a 3. You might even be able to see him play as a left-footed but central in a 3 as well. That sort of addition offers... It just offers... And he can draw... He can run... I'm going to get his stats up in a second. I was going to quickly say hello to everyone. In the chat. We need a 10 and left winger. I'll take Hincapie because he's good, but not our priority. This is what I'm saying, right? I don't think he is not the priority, and it's also a long stretch to think this one would happen because he's that good, in my opinion, and he's quality. But don't deprioritize the value of the player or the value of the option because, as I say, tactically, having him in the squad opens us up to so many more different styles of football, so many more. You know that we've already seen how clever Frank, Cochrane, all the team are, right? All the team are, and now figuring out partnerships, relationships, in-game diversity. Like we're already seeing the unpredictability of a team that has options, but we only have relatively few options at the moment. But you've got people behind the scenes that are smart, that know what they're doing, and that unpredictability equals difficulties for oppositions to allocate any particular amount of time on the training ground in the days leading up to playing Tottenham to figuring out the template for one particular version. Under Ange, no, I'm not going back on Ange, but just as an example, for the most part, for 18 months, we only played one way. And so every team knowing they were playing Tottenham on the Wednesday or the Saturday, all right, guys, we know what we're doing here. We win the ball back high and smash it over the cot. Like, just practice, rinse, repeat. And then it was parrot fashion so that on the weekend, they were so familiar with the process and it worked every time. If you have a team that on 1 minute could be playing a back 5, next minute could be playing a back 4, next minute can have their wingers slightly more narrow as target guys, other times out on the wing. You know, there's partnerships, variety. You've even got different styles of wingers. So you don't know if you've got a fully fit squad, if you're going to be playing Brennan Johnson or Savio, or if it's Kudus or it's whatever, or Solanke or Richalison. If you genuinely don't know what 11 you've got, then you also have a whole bunch of different variations of the tactics within that. Someone like a Piero Hincapié, like, that amplifies that pull, that incredible value in the SWOT analysis of what you can do and what the opposition can't do. They can't predict what you're going to be like on the weekend, and Hincapie adds that value as an option. He also adds incredible value as a player. So let's not deprioritize it, but let's also at the same time not put it in the realms of I now expect this to happen. And if it doesn't happen, I'm going to lose my shit because that's unfair. Let's bring the bomber, says Ulrika. In fact, I've got a couple of super chats as well. Hayden Adams, big up to you, Hayden. Oh, the super sticker train has commenced this morning. Well done. I can't hear it. Is it playing? Oh, there it is. Big up to you, Hayden. Let us know where we're picking you up from, my man. I love the name Hayden, though. It's a brilliant name. Ulrika, get your gin and tonic out, love. Get your gins and teas. Love to see you. Dry your bits. Let's go. The lazy Spurs fan. Big up to you as well. Says new Spurs fan, 5 days old. Walker Wall. New Spurs fan, 5 days old. Walker Wall. Oh, you've had a child. Congratulations, mate. If I'm reading that correctly. Congratulations, buddy. That's amazing, man. That's amazing, man. I'm super, super excited. What a name as well. Walker Wall. I like that. I like that, mate. Very cool. If that's what I'm reading correctly, mate, congratulations, buddy. Super good news, that is. Super good news. They might accept if was Vescovic loan in separate deal. What, sending Vescovic back to Leverkusen? That could happen, couldn't it? I could see that. I can see the value there. 100% I can see the value there. Vescovic is going to Hamburg. Yeah, my club. My club. We shall see. Fearing a Chelsea hijack since they lost their left centre back to injury. Yeah, 100%. Well, they have got that. They did sign Jarell Hatto, and Chelsea can't. I think there might be some value here. That Chelsea right now can't even sign Xavi Simons, and they can't even sign Garnacho until they sell Nicholas Jackson. And Nicholas Jackson wants to go to Villa. But the reason why Chelsea can't sign the players they want is the same reason why Villa can't sign Nicholas Jackson, because they're both under some UEFA A listing from their Conference League or Champions League squad relatives last season. And so Chelsea, for example, in trying to get their transfer balance rewrited, they, I believe, this is what I've been told, that they are under the cosh because they sold like João Felix to Al Nassr, I think it was, but he doesn't count as a transfer rebalance because he wasn't part of the Conference League squad last year. So UEFA's only interested in the squad and in the transfer business that's made up your ability to participate in UEFA, not in what you've done to get, in the Premier League or whatever. And so the sale of João Felix doesn't count, but the sale of like a Noni Madueke does. So anyway, point being that maybe Tottenham Hotspur have got a slight moment here where they can act before, because if Chelsea can't sell Nicholas Jackson, but Nicholas Jackson can't get to Villa until Villa sell a player, which is why Villa are trying to sell Amadou Onana into Saudi. Shock horror. The old back-scratching, cyclical nature of corruption in the footballing world continues, and yet Villa fans sit there crying their eyes out like the rules aren't fair when they manipulate the rules and use their relationships in Saudi every chance they get. Let's not forget about a certain player called John Duran who went last summer for 70 million quid and then spent 6 months there and then went into Turkey or wherever he went. The whole thing's a joke, and yet Villa fans cry victim when their owners are participating in the biggest robbery of rule manipulation in the game. Anyway, evening, Sean from Rexy. What's going on? Good to see you. Safe cab. It's a loan with obligation offer, as we must not have enough funds to then buy in other areas. Yeah, I think that's the kind of it's basically kicking the can. It's whether or not Leverkusen will accept it. Right? Leverkusen don't have to accept that offer, and they would rather get the money up front, of course. And they're probably going to look at Tottenham like everybody else and smell the kind of desperation that's coming out of us right now and go, nah, screw it. And then in so doing, are Tottenham leaving the door open? 1 second, guys. 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. The cleaner started doing the hoovering. So last chance saloon. No, I'm kidding. It's not the cleaner. Anyway, we're doing big up Sean, Mark Taylor. Big up to you, mate. Savinho deal off, says Ad. I'm going to call you Ad. That's a lot of vowels. It's a lot of vowels. How do you say that name? Sakdur, Abdab Sakdur or something. Good name, cool name. It's an interesting one. Lucas Belrado. What about him? What about him? Toxic headshot. Good to see. 41-year-old Yid, and I've not been this excited in years since we get Savinho. I'll be a happy boy. This isn't about Savinho, though. This isn't about Savinho. Although, for what it's worth, guys, for what it is worth, certain people who wouldn't usually put their head above the parapet and claim things are hearing that it's advanced this morning. The Savinho deal is advanced. I'm not saying that. I've got no idea what's going on there. But I would love to think. I would love it. I would love it if we signed him. Love it. I'd love it if we signed Savinho. If we get Savinho, Hincapie, I'll dare to dream, Butler. What are you doing here, mate? What are you doing? You're setting yourself up to be disappointed again. You're setting yourself up to be disappointed again. But Savio, Paqueta, and Hincapie, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Best window ever. Best window ever. If we get Hincapie, listen. I'm gonna shoot forward and get down to the bottom of the chat. Good to see you all, by the way. Good to see you all. Now I'm in. I'm just, if you've already said hello and I haven't said hello to you, say hello again, because now we're in the show. I can just pick it up as we go along. It's the hope that gets us, Patrick. 100%, mate. It's definitely the hope that gets us, mate. No way we get Paqueta, my Rice says. Look, I agree that it's very difficult because Sullivan at this stage is already... If Sullivan walked down West Ham High Street or East Ham... Funny, is there a place called Ham? Because I know there's East Ham. There's East Ham Underground. I don't know if there's a West Ham Underground. But if there's East Ham and West Ham, then is there North Ham and South Ham? Because I've never heard of them before. Anyway, no way we get Paqueta. I mean, it would be difficult. If he was to walk down the high street right now, a West Ham fan would probably knock him out, I reckon. You know, for what's happening to their club. It's falling apart at the seams, isn't it? Levy must realise now how important it is to build a match-winning brand. Negotiations become much easier. Short-term, long-term gain. 100%. Oh, there's some more tweets out here. What are we doing here? Hang about, people. Hang about. Hincapie said bomber, by the way. Hincapie has just written bomber. And he thinks he knows a thing or two. Oh, here we go. Arsenal are working to sign Piero Hincapié from Bayer Leverkusen, subject to player exits. He's prioritising Arsenal, from David Ornstein. And there you have it. There you have it. I mean... well... well. If they get him again, this is the thing. There's gonna be the that's. Oh dear, the meltdown that's going to ensue. The meltdown that's like. I'd rather just not have known about it. I'd rather just have not known about it. Exclusive. Arsenal working to sign Piero Hincapié from Davidson, subject to player exits. 23-year-old defender told Bayern of wish to leave and prioritising Arsenal above others. Efforts ongoing to make the fee more realistic than €60 million clause. How about this? How about Tottenham just go and pay the fucking clause then and say, you know, come to us or don't? Because can Arsenal really afford to do that as well as the £68 million they just paid for Eze? I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to check out if this is there's something else going on here. Because we also had the bad news last night around 1 second. Wait. Thanks. Yeah, look, to me, this is a strange one. I mean, it's all, people on Twitter are already having the meltdown. Let's get the Twitter up. Shall we see the meltdown that's going on currently? 5 minutes ago, it wasn't even a thing. 5 minutes ago, it wasn't even a thing. And now, where's my man? Where's the story regarding Ornstein? Hang on, where is it? Look. Look at this. It's just 3 minutes ago. It's already had 1.2k in comments. Ready? Timothy's laughing his eyes out. What is that? He's laughing. Is he laughing because it's not true, or he's laughing because he finds it funny? I don't know. Because he said that there's a bomber. Look, this guy thinks he knows a thing or two. Oh, he deleted it. He's deleted it. Fraud. He put out bomber. Did he? Or did he do it this way? Oh, there you go. Bomber. You see, sorry, he put it underneath his foot. He put it underneath thingy. And now he's laughing his head off because of the Ornstein one. So which one's right, Ornstein or Romano? Looks like Ornstein's probably the best one, isn't he, to listen to, unfortunately. But let's go back to this. Look, this has to be a joke, surely. Why are they still signing defenders? They are bullying Spurs because they got no juice, something they can't try with Chelsea. No, we are not, says AFC Monty. How many defenders do they need? We need to humble them and sign this guy. They're ruining football, says a Chelsea fan. That's quite funny, actually. I might like that one. Shameless. I'm going to presume that's sarcastic. He won't join a team without a trophy. United should sign him ASAP. Listen, I mean, everyone universally thinks this guy is a baller. What the actual F is Josh Conkey doing? I love it. Fabrizio said he was going to Tottenham just minutes ago. To be fair, he didn't say that. He said that Tottenham are putting a bid. How would Arsenal use him is the question, though, right? How does Arsenal... Arsenal don't need another centre-back. He'll never play at Arsenal. He'll never play at Arsenal, will he? Let's be entirely honest, right? So what have Arsenal got going on? By the way, guys, 1,500 people in the house. Smash the like button. Hit the subscribe, please, if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. And drop a comment or two. Arsenal can't give him the game time. I agree, Ravenite. 100%. 100%. Arsenal are selling Kiwior. Well, Kiwior barely plays. If they sell Kiwior and replace him with fucking or with Hincapie, it's madness. It's madness. What's going on here? Oh, Fabrizio's tweeted again, apparently. Has he tweeted again? Oh, you go. Arsenal make official approach to buy Levy because Romero can be after play. No official bid yet from AFC as deal depends on Kiwi or exit. Porto on it and Andor Zinchenko future. Tottenham sent loan/obligation bid to buyer for Hincapie. Jesus Christ. We can't be little broed again. For fuck's sake. Oh my God. Oh my God. Morning all. Sean, you cracked me up. Well, stop trying to. I don't know what. Listen, the meltdown that's going to happen. Like, what else can you do, though? What else can you do? You want a player, you make the offer. If he decides to go somewhere else, like, that's pecking order. But that's not going to be heard. That's just going to be, the argument's just going to be, yeah, change for Tottenham ready in the tweet, yeah. Oh, the meltdown. The meltdown. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. All you can do, right, is put in the bid and try and convince the player. If he wants to go to Arsenal, like, what are you supposed to do? But that's not going to satisfy the people that... Is it a valid meltdown? Is it a valid meltdown, Ash? Come on now. We woke up this morning and we didn't think we had a chance in hell of signing Hincapie. I said this would happen, didn't I? I said this would happen. Well, I've been going for 34 minutes. 3 minutes in, I said, let's relax, people. It's not a valid meltdown at all. 100% Geek Jinx. Won't start over Gabriel and Saliba. This window has been so bad. I don't know. If we... Yeah, in a second. We've signed a far better right winger than the left winger we lost. And we signed a massive hole filler. And we lost a player to injury, a 10 to injury, which has been problematic and has changed our plans for sure. But We've also got Romero locked in for the rest of his career, pretty much, or not really, but most of it. And we've got Jed Spence locked up as well. I don't think it's been a horrendous window. I think if it ends like this, it's a 5. But if we were to sign a Hincapie, it goes to a 7. If we were then to sign a Savio, it goes to a 9. And if you were to sign a Paqueta or something like that, or an Agliuche, then it goes to a 10. But at the moment, it's a 5. At the moment, it's a 5. Paqueta or Lookman, I want Lookman, mate. I think Lookman is the perfect fit for what we're looking for. 100%. But this sort of news, like you can't not expect something to happen. Then you get news it might happen from Romano, and then all of a sudden it's not happening. It's probably going to go to Arsenal, and then you go, like if Tottenham, if there was no tweet about Tottenham today, if there was no tweet about Tottenham in for Hincapie, and then it was just Arsenal of here we go Hincapie, there wouldn't be the meltdown. But because Romano puts out a tweet saying Tottenham are putting a loan. I mean, honest to God. At times, right? At times, I'm like, there's no point in making the argument because you're pissing into the wind of emotional outrage. But when the emotional outrage is so ridiculous, I don't care if I'm the only person here that's going to be saying this. I don't care. I'm going to continue to say it because I don't think I'm the one that's insane. I think the 99% of people that are losing their mind are I think it's insanity to get your hopes up and then crushed in like 30 seconds. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Sean, you are delusional. What, a 5 out of 10? When you've signed the best centre-back in the game, or one of the best centre-backs in the game on a 4-year contract. This is karma, Sean, for laughing at Newcastle. What, for getting little broed? You know what, Rebel Red? I actually think you're right about that. I've thought about that myself. I have thought about that myself. Sometimes I think the world, like, I really do think it is a simulation because, like, every time I get this idea in my head, oh, Sean, you shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't mock other people because it's going to come back. Like, I feel like, I mean, there may be slight narcissism in there to think that, like, your energy is going to affect millions of other people's wishes and desires as well for Tottenham Hotspur. But I genuinely think I shouldn't have laughed at Newcastle's being little broed the entire summer. Because it feels that way. It feels that way. What's Ben Jacobs saying? What's Ben Jacobs said? Ben Jacobs said something, has he? Oh, what's he said? He never comes out with good news for Tottenham. What's he said? Let's have a look. See. Piero Hincapié's future, one to watch on the final week of the window. Levy can then exploring options for the exit possible. Arsenal set to bid for Piero Hincapié, who favours a move to the Emirates over Spurs. Hincapie has a 60 million clause. Kyrgios' potential move to Porto has led to work on Hincapie. At this stage, the only way you get him then, the only way that you get him is if you trigger the clause now. You trigger the clause now, just do it. Even if that means, like, because you're not going to get him or you're going to get him, right? You're either going to get him or you're not going to get him. And if you wait and do the loan deal thing, it's not going to work. You're allowing Arsenal to have the time. You're allowing Arsenal to have the time then to sell Kyrgios and then to move later. It'll be a carbon copy. Now, like I say, I'm not going to lose my shit about it because I've never expected it to happen in the world. It is 2.0, yeah. It is. The clause is irrelevant, says Will. Well, it's not irrelevant in as much as if you trigger the clause now and then Arsenal haven't yet sold Kyrgios, then maybe they can't trigger the clause as well because they don't have the readies. But fuck me, if Hincapie ends up going to Arsenal, that is an insane amount of money they've spent. An insane amount of money. Arteta had better win the league. You know? But this is pecking order politics, isn't it? This is what it is. Unfortunately, to a degree, like if Tottenham, the only thing you can criticise Tottenham for now is not. Here we go. Some fans are really something. Yeah. There's 1,700 people here, guys. Please smash the like button for me. Smash the subscribe. No, Sean, we can offer him more wages and more minutes. Yeah, I know, but I'm saying in terms of like the only way that you can get the deal done now is if you're getting in front of Arsenal's ability to sign him. If Arsenal need money or if they need a player gone first, whether it's Zinchenko, whether it's Kiwi or to Porto, the only way you can sort of do it is by saying, all right, fuck it, we'll trigger the clause. But if he wants to go to Arsenal, he wants to go to Arsenal. This shouldn't be seen as Eze 2.0 because, like, well, it's going to be seen that way, isn't it? The meltdown is already going. Like, it's just madness. Absolutely insane. Spurs paid more for Eze and still got rejected. I'm not sure if that happened at the end, mate. I think that by the end of it, I think that they'd actually paid a lot more. I think they paid basically close to the fee, didn't they? Oh, dear. Yeah, dear. What's this? HMBA, how's my bonus affected? A Levy mantra from breakfast to nightcap. Yeah. Well, that's not a bad shout, to be honest. This isn't about Hincapie. This isn't 2.0. This happens too often. What, that a bigger club or like a club with more, I don't know, ambition, more not. I guess it is ambition. Like but at the end of the day, Arsenal are a bigger draw than Tottenham at the moment, aren't they? Let's be honest. They're the team in the Champions League. If this was 6-7 years ago, I'm not sure it would have been the same thing. But Arsenal have always been a bigger club than Tottenham in terms of success anyway. Sean, get the Hoover back on. Can't take this anymore. Pecking order is definitely a problem at the moment, but then it means we're not moving in the market appropriately. Paz, for example, was always impossible, but we tabled a bid anyway. 100%. So that one was rejected last night. I only told you that one. I think I've told you about that one. So that's 70 million quid. We've got money to spend, but we just, like, this is the Newcastle dilemma as well, right? If you're punching above your weight, like, how do you go about, what is this? How do you solve for this? Solve this. Riddle me this, people. Riddle me this. If you are trying to close the gap on the very best and you want the players to do that, but every time you are in for a player that is of that caliber, then one of the bigger teams comes in and just gets them, even if they don't need them, even if they can't promise them the minutes. If they're going to come in and gazump teams like Newcastle, teams like Villa, teams like Tottenham, teams like whoever the next one would be, like, how do you solve for that if every time a player becomes available that is of that gap closing ilk, one of the bigger teams just comes in and goes, I'll take them? How do you solve for it? The way I guess you need obviously a really strong youth. You need to go after the young players and hope they become the best players in the world whilst at your club. Players like Romero have done that. You know, hopefully Berghvall will become like that. Hopefully Udogie or Jed Spence will be the best fullbacks in the world. Pedro Porro. Like, there are examples out there of Tottenham finding the best of the youth and then hopefully maturing. Look at Pape Sarr. What sort of player could he become? But it's not just about paying whatever it takes, though, Peter. It's not just about payment, is it? It's about the draw. If Tottenham Hotspur go in for Hincapie, even if Tottenham Hotspur trigger the clause right now, that might give Tottenham 5 minutes worth of breathing space because Arsenal might just trigger the clause as well. So yeah, we'll trigger it as well and we'll sort out Kiwi after the fact. So in that environment, I don't know how you necessarily do it. This is why we are so bad in the market. We've had 3 months and left it until now. Like, why does it? That's not answering the problem unless you're talking to someone else, are you? I think you're talking to someone else. But like, that doesn't solve the problem. The problem for me, it's the same problem that Newcastle have been doing, and Newcastle have been trying this all summer, is that every time they go after a big player, somebody else comes in with a better draw. What am I saying, Perry Walker, that's wrong? Explain to me. The point is Spurs should be doing these deals weeks ago. What difference does the timing make, Donut? Just because if you did it weeks ago, what difference does it make if the same dilemma occurs? It just moves the thing forward. Look at what happened to Newcastle all summer. Explain to me where I'm wrong. The argument I'm making, the question I'm asking is, if you're being little broed by bigger teams, how do you get around that? How do you get around it? Rather than just saying someone's wrong and then just moving the timeline, which is irrelevant to the concept because the same thing can happen 4 weeks ago. What do you do then? I'm interested for your answer. Everything, Sean. What does that mean? Arsenal wouldn't be able to buy him a few weeks ago, but they can now because they know there's money coming in. Arsenal couldn't. couldn't have bought Hincapie a few weeks ago? Why not? And what money's coming in? Kiwi was going to get them about 10 million quid. 60 million is not, that's not the difference. It doesn't make up the difference. People don't believe in hope because there is no hope in the modern world. Everything around us is being destroyed by greed. No one have a reason to have hope or faith in something good happening. Yeah, I can agree with that. Very philosophical, though. It's a shame. There's donuts everywhere, Spurs fan. Donuts everywhere, mate. Make sure your son is not a donut. Levy doesn't open his fucking pockets, the greedy. Oh, God, jeez. Okay. Because Arsenal have a better plan than us, we clearly not had a plan. What we need, our club rebuilding for 2,000 years, but always bottle no ambition of winning. Which player will come if we be like this? We are not as big a draw because of a draw. We are not as big of a draw because of a draw as Arsenal because we don't act like them. We could spend the money they do. But it wasn't money that was the problem for the Eze deal. It wasn't money that was the problem for the Paz deal. It wasn't money that's been the problem for the Savio deal. It's not money that's going to be the problem for the Hincapie deal. But we've got money. We're trying to spend money. But every time we go after a player, we're getting cock-blocked by a bigger draw team. Again, you're beyond wrong, Donut. You're beyond wrong on your point. We should pivot quicker to other targets. It's a numbers game. Well, just keep going. Yes or no? No? Okay, fine. Fuck you, by the way. You. Money? Yes or no? No? Fuck you too. How about you? Come on, someone. I got money over here. Get El Canoes. Jesus Christ. I think that's where we're going to end up, isn't it? All right, listen, just pay the money. On this one, I think that if you want any chance of getting Hincapie, if you want any chance at all of getting Hincapie, then you're definitely going to need to trigger the clause right now. But in so doing that, does that then mean if it's 60 million and it all got to be paid up front, for example? That's the only way you get it done, right? Because I don't think Arsenal will be able to do it. I would imagine that what Arsenal did with Eze was that we'll pay you 68 million, but can we do like 20 million now and then the rest over the next 3 or 4 years or whatever? If the clause with regards Hincapie is, 60 million of which 50 million's up front, the only way you can do this right now is to trigger the clause and to pay a massive amount of money up front or whatever it is, whatever the clause is, just do it. And then hopefully Arsenal are like, well, we can't match those terms. And then we might get the player who would rather be at Arsenal but will come to Tottenham and settle. But again, Thomas Frank says if you don't want to be at Tottenham, if you want to be somewhere else, then go somewhere else. If that's the case, though, then you have to lower your standards of your targets because every big target you're going for would, if they have the option of Tottenham or somewhere else that's in the traditional Big Five, they're going to pick the other team, aren't they? It's just the way it is. But the meltdown, I said it, didn't I? I fucking said this. I said it when the show started. I said, guys, God, for the love of God, please don't get your expectations up all of a sudden. Don't get your expectations up all of a sudden. Because it's incredibly unlikely. Look at them. Look at them. Look at them all. Oh, my God. If it's almost, I bet you Daniel Levy's going, for fuck's sake. What? Why? I genuinely think that Daniel Levy should probably go out. Like we were talking the other day about how, there's probably certain clubs that are like paying these Bombers or Ornsteins and Romanos, whatever, like to kind of manipulate the conversation, to drum up competition. Agents do it, like rival clubs do it. Your club does it, whatever. I'm sure it's a whole ecosystem, a whole industry of people paying these people with influence. I mean, you see it in politics, right? You see it in politics when you saw it in America with the Epstein dossiers. Like the US government paid right-wing influencers to come to the White House to be given a dossier that was full of nothing burgers. And they kind of were using influencers to sort of speak to the zeitgeist. So Same thing must be happening in every industry where there's like a social contract with the general people, and you're not privy to all the information. So football's a prime example. But what I'd actually say is maybe Daniel Levy should be paying Romano, for the love of God, please don't put any bombers out regarding stories, because all it does is drums up this outrage. All it does is drum up the outrage. You know, doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. Doesn't help at all. If we woke up this morning and there was no bid for Hincapie, and then it was just, oh, Arsenal have got a here we go for Hincapie, most Tottenham fans wouldn't be mad. They'd be like some of them would. But today, as predictable as ever, just like the sun rises in the morning and it sets in the evening, Tottenham fans have a good old-fashioned meltdown about information that we don't know is true. And even if it is true, I said at the start, it's incredibly unlikely he'll end up at Tottenham. For fuck's sake, the meltdown over it's ridiculous. Levy out regardless. Fair enough. If you're Levy out regardless, whatever. Sean, if we wanted him, let's be honest, we should have gone for him at the start of the window. What difference would that have made, mate? You think like timing is everything. Just if we went earlier, then so would have everybody else. Like it's not like you're pretending like the only reason why there's a problem here is because there's not that much time left. That's a factor. Time expiration of value is a factor. But explain to me why 75% of all transfers happen in the last week, especially in January. Because it's a Mexican standoff for so long. Sorry, Danny. Like you're invoking an argument to make like it's a fact that if this happened earlier, we wouldn't be a problem. Load of bollocks, Danny. Load of bollocks. But you're more than welcome to come onto the show to explain to me why I'm wrong. In fact, I encourage you to let me get the tweet, the thing we're doing here. Copy. Oh, actually, Johnny needs to come on as well. I don't know if Johnny doesn't look at the chat. Look at the Spurs Talk Show chat. What's James saying? James is saying, I'll send you up there. Yeah. Thanks, James. Appreciate it. Absolute madness. Where's Danny Kyriakou? There he is. Hang a fucking about there. Where is he? Can't see him. Why can't I see Kyriakou? You've been deleted off my phone in a moment of rage. Where have you gone? Can't see you anywhere. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane outrage here right now. I can't find you, Danny. Let me know if you want to come on, mate. I'll keep an eye out for your comments. Let me know if you want to come on, and I'll send you the tweet. Oh, fuck it. Where is it? I know I've got it somewhere. Where are you? There you are. You Greek bastard. Let's have a look. See, bang. See what you got to say, mate. You want to come on and have a crack at me, Danny boy? Come on, have a crack at me, lad. Anyway, let's go and see is there any more meltdown happening on Twitter right now? We are being used as banter bait, bro. I just don't know why Chelsea is not going for this guy. Another CB is bizarre. How much money can they spend? Arteta is the new checkbook manager. Arteta is a checkbook manager. Sell Kiwior cheaply and buy a replacement at 60 million. Arsenal must have money to burn. Absolutely insane. Stay there 1 second, guys. Someone's come into my room. Sorry about that. The dog walker said, where's the dog's lead? Sean doesn't know how to cook. Well, I don't know how to cook in terms of like putting food on a plate. I get takeaways every day. Explains why I'm now 18 stone again. But, Danny, I do know how to cook you, mate, in an argument, bro. I know how to cook you. Put Danny Kyriakou on toast. Little bit of Cholula sauce. Make it a little bit spicy as we go down. You know what I mean, mate? You know what I mean? It's all part of the grand plan, Polly Cooper. 100%, love. 100%. Shows our recruitment team is poor. Like Frank is saying, no due diligence and no process, just scattergun. Probably why Lang got let go at Villa, not up to it. Yeah, listen, I think Johan Lang is getting let go at Tottenham as well, by the way. 100% I think he's getting let go at Tottenham. I don't rate the guy. I think he's out of his depth. And I think even what's his name has said the same. Sorry about that. What are we doing here? Gunners in for Hincapie. Yeah, we're ahead of it. We're ahead of it. Absolutely madness, guys. It's absolutely madness. But I've got to do the Spurs 5 tonight. Do you know what it is? I genuinely think that God is punishing me for something. But I think someone was saying earlier, because every time the Spurs 5 comes around, it's just like no one's going to be talking about the Man City game. No one's going to be talking about how great we've been. Everyone's going to be talking about a Hincapie bomber going to Arsenal and it's Eze Mark II. And then the Levy out people are going to be in with their vitriol towards me like I'm the one. I'm responsible. And of course, Stel and Lubo, they can't go 5 seconds without talking about Daniel Levy. So it's going to be swung back in that way again. It's going to be so repetitive. I've got to be entirely honest. Like I'm sick to death. Thank you. Sick to death of talking about Daniel Levy because here we go. Sean, your chairman keeps pissing in the wind. Any comment? What's he done now for Wolves? What's he done? How has he pissed in the wind on this one? He's expressed an interest in a player, and the player has apparently got a couple of options. How is this Daniel Levy's fault? It's absolutely insanity. Absolute insanity. But listen, agenda's got her agenda. If we somehow manage to get Hincapie, then it's gonna be wild. It's all my fault. Yeah, it's my fault. That's right, Abe. It's my fault. Yeah. Danny Kiriakou, he's not coming on though, is he? He's got the link. He's not coming on. He likes to have little pot shots from the sidelines. You're a touchline manager. How the fuck are we allowed rivals to outspend us by 3x? Yeah. I'd love to know where Arsenal got their money from to spend what they're spending. It's insane. It's an insane amount of money that they're spending. Levy made us into Arsenal's bitch, says Roy. The dare is to be a bitch. Honest to God, Roy, you're better than that. You are better than that, mate. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Where's our Saudi? Yeah, where's my Saudi? Where's my Saudi? Couple of super chats, guys. Couple of super chats. What we got here? Done that. Congratulations on your child, Spurs fan. Ulrika has said, did you do Lubo Loves My Chairman in an Alabama accent in last night's chat? I think not, but I fell asleep. An Alabama accent. Alabama. Can I do it in Forrest Gump? Lubo loves my chairman. He's from Greenbow, Alabama. Lubo, he loves my chairman. That'll do. I hope that'll do for you. Thank you very much, Ulrika. Appreciate you very much indeed. El Dante, if players don't want to win trophies, Greenbow, Alabama. If players don't want to win trophies, let them move to Arsenal. We're creating a winning mentality, not to just challenge, like, subscribe, and come on, you Spurs. I like that, mate. I like that. The copium there is strong, and I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. If they want to go there and come second in their entire life, then let them do it. Let them do it. If players don't want to win trophies, 100% the best way of thinking about it. Look, for whatever reason, we'll see. If the player wants to go, why does he want to go and join? Let's quickly have a look at the Arsenal squad, by the way. What are we doing here? Transfer market. Share this tab. Bring it up on the screen. I'm going to come back to... if I'll just do the quickly. Ali Gold tweeted Piero not a potential for Spurs. Oh, shit. Really? Oh, bollocks. Let's have a look. He spells his name weird, doesn't he? Alasdair or something. Is that it? Alasdair Gold? Yeah, here we go. Oh, God. Okay, so it's not happening then. So we got ourselves all up in a twist. Romano then is in the mud. Spurs prioritising a number 10 and a winger in the remaining days of the window. Thomas Frank would also like another centre-back with the belief Luka Viscovic would benefit from a loan to regular football. Piero Hincapié does not appear to be a potential signing at this point. So then Romano's in the... Well, he's not saying that we haven't put a bid in, though, has he? He's not saying we haven't put a bid in. I think he's basically saying... I think Alistair Gold's got a quick tweet from Daniel Levy there or someone saying... Yeah, can you please shut that one down pretty quick? Okay, well, let's move. We'll get over it then. We'll get over it. I'm over it. But of course, the fan base agendas are going to agenda, right? Agendas are going to agenda, and it's going to be madness. But whether I get to in the thing. Thank you for the super chat there, Jay. Appreciate you. Next one says. Rather have Thomas Frank than Lego Arteta. Come on, you Spurs. Yeah, I wouldn't. I think Arteta's peaked anyway. If he doesn't win the league this year, he's a failed manager massively. He can't have all that talent and not win the league. No excuse. No excuse whatsoever. You are totally correct. Trust Frank over players and rumours. Don't want players that don't want us, says Aidan Friedman. Big up to you, Aidan. You're up early, mate. Fucking hell. You're in Canada. What's it? It's like 4 o'clock in the morning over there or something. I mean, I haven't even had a drink of alcohol yet. So it must be early where you are, if that's the case. Unbelievable, Aidan. Unbelievable stuff. But thank you very much for the super chat, mate. Bright and shine. Brighton early. Can't speak. Super sticker from Oscar. Big up to you, Oscar. Choo-choo to you, my man. Thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate you so much. Josh Smith says, I don't understand why Arsenal need Hincapie. That's what we were going to do. And just before I come to that, Joshy, thank you very much indeed. Ben Jacobs is as trustworthy as Giggs at a family barbecue. Sniffing around my wife. Sensational. I like that one, Brandon. Very good, mate. I wish I could like super save super chats, ones that like roll over into like an archive of the best super chat. That's a beautiful one. That is sensational stuff. Let's go back and have a look at this Arsenal. Let's have a look at this Arsenal squad, shall we? Why isn't it coming up? Here we go. And then this one. Let's go. Bang, 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 bang. Okay, so Arsenal's squad as defenders, they've got Saliba, Gabriel, Mosquera, Kirill, Zinchenko, Calafiori, Lewis Skelly, Timber, and White. So if they were to sell, those that they play a back four, right? So Saliba and Gabriel are starters, and then the left back option is Skelly and Calafiori. So they're suggesting that they need to sell one of Kirill. So Mosquera would be fourth choice. How many minutes is he going to play? Let's be honest. He's going to play like... You know what? This notion of like first choice, second choice, whatever, is clearly irrelevant because the big teams don't have any concerns, do they? Yes, now tell me, please, our defence is better. I never said our defence was better than their defence. I said that our starting back four last season. I said our starting back. This is ages ago. If you're reflecting on me, but I don't know. I don't know what you're saying. But I've never said that. I've always said Arsenal got the best defence in the league. How, in your opinion, then, do we become a club that has a big draw as Arsenal? If it isn't by spending big time, big then how? No, it is by. But you're missing the point, Perry. It's like you're not listening, my man. We are trying to spend big. We're paying 80 million euros or 75 million euros for a 21-year-old that got 1 goal last year. The notion that we're not trying to spend big is bonkers. We tried to get Morgan Gibbs White by triggering the clause, but fucked it up. We're trying to trigger this clause, or apparently we are, according to Romano, but not according to Ali Gold. But you know that is a demonstration of trying to spend big, isn't it? And obviously we tried with 70 million quid on a 21-year-old Nico Paz, 70 million euros that was rejected last night. Like the idea that we're not trying to spend big is bonkers. We've clearly got a lot of money to spend, but we're clearly just getting cock-blocked because the draw is players want to go to teams that are going to have a higher propensity of winning titles. It used to be, by the way, Perry, the argument used to be, we don't spend enough money. Then when that argument was debunked because we were spending 300 million quid on Ange Postecoglou, then it was the wage to turnover ratio. Then I explained to everybody, actually, the big five do have a bigger wage to turnover ratio than Tottenham. We just got a new club's highest earner, by the way, in Christian Romero, club's record earner, right? At least absent bonuses. I'm sure Sonny was paid a lot more, but in the basic salary. And also this idea that if you pay more in wages, you are going to win more trophies because the 5 teams that always win trophies pay more than us. But so do the 15, 16 teams that win fewer trophies than us. They pay a higher wage to turnover ratio as well. So it's a bit of a moot point. Whilst it's relevant, it's correlation, not causation. And now we're trying to spend massive money on players that are younger, they're not world-class players yet, but we're going and paying world-class money for potential, pricing and perfection, which isn't something that I think is the right way to go about it. So that's what I'm asking you. What is the method of how do you get to have the draw? You get to have the draw by having sustained, consistent success. And unfortunately, that's very fucking difficult when you participate in a league that has the kind of ecosystems that it does. It's very difficult, not least of which that has been amplified by the bullshit FFP and PSR rules. That's my stance. It has been my stance for 3.5 years. People don't like it because they want easy answers to difficult problems. But my problem is with the money in football, with the inability for rules to be made coherent, cohesive, and concise, that don't have gaping holes in it that can be danced through by anybody with the smartest minds in the room are figuring out the loopholes. And when one loophole is closed, another 3 open. Right now, everybody is now... Look at Liverpool. Liverpool have just gone and bought Getafe. They're moving into the single additional multi-club ownership model because they want to do what Chelsea are currently doing, which is buying players through Blueco rather than on Chelsea and then sending them off to Strasbourg. It's the next iteration of a giant loophole. I spoke about this 18 months ago. I spoke about it again 12 months ago. There's videos on my channel and on Sean Butler TV where I literally said, these are the 10 current unused loopholes. One of them I spoke about with Johnny. One of them I said, this hasn't been done yet. 24 hours later, it was done between Aston Villa and Chelsea, and Newcastle were involved in something similar. Like, if I can sit there and imagine 10 loopholes, the lawyers, the sports lawyers, and the people that are the smartest minds in the game, they probably have 100 loopholes. Another one of those 10 that I suggested was multi-club ownership, diversifying the ownership of the players between the group and doing things that are not yet done. But traditionally, multi-club ownership needs 5 or 6 clubs to be baked into a template before you start to get the iterations of value, like what City Football Group have done. But actually, now you can do it with just one club that's baked in, like what Chelsea are doing with Strasbourg. So I'm not changing my tune. I've been singing this song for a long time. Why are we not playing in loopholes? Well, because, and this is a problem. This is where I'll criticize Daniel Levy. It's because he has become the poster boy for doing it organically. And he has become, as a consequence of that, incapable of being a martyr on the one hand and then a utilizer on the other. So I 100% meet you in the middle and say that we should be operating in that. And that's why I've said a long time ago, I'm more than happy for Daniel Levy to step aside and let somebody else take on, or for him to sell the club and let somebody else take us to the next level. Because I do think that there's absolute merit in what he's done, what he's achieved organically. And I used the analogy the other day. I'll continue. I think it's the best analogy that I can say right now is that he is like a bodybuilder who eats clean, who goes to the gym every day, who trains hard, who's got 5% body fat or whatever else, but your body is only capable of a certain amount of natural growth. And then if you want to go and win like a Mr. Universe competition, then unfortunately you have to fucking get on board the idea that everybody else is steroids and juiced up to the max. And he's got a phobia of needles. And so if you want to look good and be the best version of yourself or whatever, then he's doing a pretty good job. But If you want to be the best, if you want to win the competition when everyone else is on steroids, unfortunately, you have to get over your fear of needles. And I think he's got a fear of needles. So on that basis, I think that he should, recognize that that's all. Either move on or let someone else come in. If he can't dance through those loopholes because it makes his personal brand look bad, because he is, the poster boy for doing it the right way, quote unquote, the right way, when everybody else is doing it the wrong way, but still the legal way, then, time for him to move on if that's the outcome, if that's the inevitable outcome in which we find ourselves. But to lose your shit over Hincapie, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. No one expected Hincapie an hour and a half ago, and now suddenly it's another stick to bash him with. Ridiculous. Yes, Sean, your bodybuilder analogy is spot on, but we are not doing the extra that has been done by the now top draw clubs. That's what I mean. He's not putting he's not juiced up. He's not on the, I don't know, the human growth hormone or the fucking Xenophil or whatever that shit's called. You can tell I don't have too much of a knowledge of the art of bodybuilding. Spot on, Sean. Yeah, look, that's what I've always said that. I've always said either shake hands with the reality of the game or stop the game from being the way it is. But the tide has shifted. The wind has moved into a direction where obviously there is no appetite to close these loopholes. There is absolutely no appetite to close the loopholes. And so Daniel Levy has two choices if he wants to be successful. If he wants to be successful and win the title and win the Champions League, then either get on board it, go and get yourself a multi-club ownership, start thinking like a criminal. Well, not criminal, that's the wrong way of saying it, but start thinking that way, start acting that way, or get out of the way and let someone else come in that's going to do it. Or convince the world that those rules and that the way that the game has moved is ridiculous, and that we need to bring it back to a game that is based on fair competition. That was what FFP and PSR was brought in for, but it has absolutely got zero evidence of ever taking place in the way that it should be. Everton must feel like they were mugged off when they got their 6 point, whatever it was, reduction. But then even Everton, I think, have Everton outspent us this year? I don't think so, but they might be close. Or beg Joe Lewis for a cash injection. But ship it. I don't think that money's the problem right now. I genuinely don't think that money's the problem. We are trying our best to get Savio. Like 75 million euros is about to be the next bid for a 21-year-old who's a good player. But I remember everyone losing their shit about Evan Ferguson. I only call Dave Irish Hotspur out on this one because he always calls me out about Gift Orban. So it's a little bit like little vengeance. But he was like, we've got to go and get Evan Ferguson. Just pay the money, 100 million quid. Just pay the money for Evan Ferguson. Well, look what happened to him. Look what happened to Bryan Gil was supposed to be a next world-class player. Look what happened to him. There's so many examples of buying these young players. Like Nico Paz might not end up being the world-class player that people are saying he is, but to offer 70 million euros and get turned down, okay, like at what point do you say, I don't know how else to say it, right? Like, should you just pay £2 million for a 3-bedroom semi in or a 3-bedroom townhouse or whatever in like Croydon? No disrespect to Croydon, because you need a place to sleep and you haven't currently got one. Or should you go, actually, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous money. I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. But like at some point, we're making this argument that Daniel Levy isn't trying. This window, we are trying. We are bidding ridiculous amounts of money for players that haven't proven themselves, and we're either getting rejected on the bid because of a number of reasons. And I'll meet you in the middle again. I absolutely think that Daniel Levy's legacy, his history, his stance on negotiations, which I have always criticised, always said he doesn't know how to shake hands where you leave some for the next guy. 100% his negotiation style of zero sum that is exhausting, where the other side of the pool, the other side of the of the negotiation walks away like they're battered and bruised, and it's almost like he tastes blood and he wants to kill people in negotiations. That's fine if you're in an industry where you only have to deal with someone once, and then when they move on, the next victim steps up. And like if you're selling cars or something, right? If you're a secondhand car salesman and you want to just go for blood all the time, that's fine. But when you're dealing in football, relationships matter. There's not that many vendors, there's not that many suppliers, and there's not that many customers. And so you need to think about doing like leaving some for the next guy, like having a good relationship so that the next conversation can be easier. He doesn't do it that way. 100% it's a problem. 100%. I've always said this as well, that is a massive problem. And so baking all that stuff in, you know, I would love it if Vivian Lewis said, okay, in the absence of selling, in the absence of selling the club, then Daniel Levy, you're now being positioned out to just do the corporate stuff, and we're bringing in somebody else that is the football guy. I'm more than happy for that outcome to appear, but to sit there and pretend like spending the money is the problem, it hasn't been the problem this year. It might be part of the problem because, or the fact that we haven't got the players in might be because of his legacy. And I'll shake hands with you on that one and say it's a possibility that his reputation has sort of preceded him. But let's not pretend like paying 70 million euros for Nico Paz is not a massive overpayment. Let's not pretend like if we manage to get Savio done for 75, 80 million euros, that it's not a massive overpayment. We're either getting our trousers pulled down, our pants pulled down because of players that are choosing someone else, our bitter rivals, over us, or we're getting our pants pulled down by rejections for already overpayments, or we're getting our pants pulled down, whoever we end up getting, we're going to be massively overpaying for those players. Either way, it's a pants pulling summer for sure. But to lose your shit over Piero Hincapié, and 2 hours ago, no one even thought there was a chance of signing. Come on now. Money isn't the problem. It's the combination of lowballing and the pull of the club. Yeah. And why is that, Sean? Because there are 5 days left and we have no power. Again, you don't know that if we'd moved for Gibbs White 2 months ago, mate, or 6 weeks ago. It didn't work out. We had plenty of time. It still didn't work out. Right? It still didn't work out. This notion that we should do everything at the front of the window, if that's the case, Don Dada, why is it that the majority of transfers take place this week? In historical windows, the majority of transfers take place in the final 3 days on a January window. So it's like 50% of the transfers that take place in January happen in the final 10% of the window. And in the summer, it's not quite it's not quite as harsh as that. But there's a disproportionate amount of deals that get done. Deadline day deals, for example, is the busiest day for deals than any other day in the window every year. Every year. So you're making out like this is a Tottenham problem, but it isn't. It's the way that the game works. You know? Breaking news. It's not breaking news, mate. We've been speaking about this for the last hour. The second that we were linked, Arsenal were linked. You know, it is what it is. So I'm kind of like I don't expect us to get Hincapie, but I also think that the meltdown that's going to ensue is just is opportunistic and just people are a little bit blinded by the hatred right now and the frustration. And I get it, totally get it. It's because it's been a fucking shit show of the last ever since we signed Kudus, right? Just someone remind me, did we sign Polinia before we signed Kudus or was it after Kudus? I forget. But the day after Kudus was the Gibbs White saga, and then everyone was giddy with excitement. And then obviously that dragged on for 2 weeks. Then that failed. And then we went into the Eze thing and then that failed. Was it after? Was it? After, Ash, yeah. How long after? How long after was it? Was it like... So we signed Kudus, what, like 6 weeks ago? 5 weeks ago? Something like that? 3 weeks after, was it? Okay, yeah. Fair enough. So was it at the height? Was the Polinia deal at the height of the? Was it at the beginning of the Eze story, or the end of the Gibbs White story? Had Gibbs White gone tits up, and then we got Polinia? I can't remember. My mind is I'm so full of junk at the moment with regards to football stuff. Sean, Sonny notified Spurs weeks ago he was going, and we haven't replaced him. Well, for what it's worth, Mark, the notion that we haven't replaced him, like Mathys Tel was probably supposed to be the Sonny replacement, but that deal was done in January, before we knew how ready and prepared Mathys Tel was for the Premier League. That deal was done in January. Right? Remember, it was a loan deal that essentially was an obligation pending one decision, according to what we heard. And that decision was whether or not Mathys Tel wants to stay at Tottenham. And everyone at the time lost their shit saying, well, first of all, they wanted the guy. Then they lost their shit at the club when they thought that Man United were gonna steal him. Then he turned them down to come to Tottenham, and everyone was delighted. Then we heard the next day, on February the 1st, from Ange Postecoglou, that Mathys Tel was going to be here next season. He said, yeah, he's going to be here next season. So the deal was done pending one outcome, whether or not Tel wanted to stay. And Tel wanted to stay. So then the deal was made permanent. But I would imagine that if Mathys Tel had ended up, if we had the option but not the obligation, I would imagine that maybe it wouldn't have been quite as clear-cut a decision based on what we saw of him generally. Even though I think the guy's got bags of potential, he hasn't obviously stepped into that world yet. And so, but I would imagine that the Sonny replacement was actually meant to be Tel in January. That's how I see it. People are saying because Tel isn't good enough, therefore we haven't replaced Sonny. But you still got Odebear, you still got Tel, you still got Solomon, you still got all these players. Johnson, now you've got Kudus. You've already got 5 or 6 wingers. You need to move some of them on. Why we haven't moved on Solomon? It's a fair question. He's been injured. But is he going to go? If that's true, then it's absolutely shameless. What's shameless about it? What's shameless about it? Everybody wanted Mathys Tel when we signed him, Carlson. Everybody wanted Mathys Tel. There's not a single... The fans were fucking furious when we thought we'd lost Mathys Tel. Then when we got him back, when we signed him on January, it's like people have got like the goalposts get moved so easily. It's madness. I remember doing a show on January 31st when everyone was saying Tottenham are massive because we'd eventually got Mathys Tel from United. We were winding up United fans. United fans were apoplectic. Mark Goldbridge going out of his fucking mind. He chose Tottenham over Manchester United. Do none of you guys remember that? Do none of you remember what happened back in January? He might be a terrible player now. Now that you've seen him in a Tottenham shirt, you think he's a terrible player. Don't do that, Slynell. Don't do that, mate. He was not always garbage. That's a load of bollocks. Everybody in the Tottenham fan, every single Tottenham fan was apoplectic at the idea of losing it, then unbelievably delirious with excitement when we won it. Every United fan was losing their fucking mind. Every Arsenal fan was losing their fucking mind. How did we let him go to Tottenham? And then he comes to Tottenham amongst a shockingly bad Ange Postecoglou Premier League campaign, where he's the only person that's trying amongst 10 people that couldn't give a shit because their mind was on the Europa League games on the Thursday, not what was happening on the Sunday. And then everybody suddenly goes, well, Tel shit, we don't want him anymore. But they forget the fact that the deal was done in January before you lot knew that. The revisionism is insane. I feel like I'm going to have... And you know what? I'll bring that up tonight, by the way, on the Spurs 5. And I'll hear everyone going, Tel shit. I'm going to have to go... I think what I'm going to spend the afternoon doing is going back and getting clips of Saba, of Johnny, of Stel, and of Lubo on January the 31st, saying the things that I'm saying right now. If I've got time today, I'll do that. Because I think that it's absolutely revisionist of people to sit there and pretend like the story played out differently to how it did. Madness. James, of course you can join, mate. I sent you the link, didn't I? I sent you the link, James. Oh, my phone's dead. Bollocks. My phone's dead, mate. I think I sent you the link. Oh, it's in the Spurs Talk Show WhatsApp group. Hang on. But yeah, I'll have anyone can do what they want. You can melt down as much as you want, but let's not pretend like it played out differently. It's a load of bollocks. People just what Johnny come latelys, what have you done for me lately? Maybe not you, Saba, but I remember I can find there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people that were going into meltdown mode, mate. Everybody at the time were talking about like Tottenham being fucking stung again by United. Arsenal fans were going after him. And then now he's shit. But my point I'm making is that Tottenham Hotspur made the decision to replace Sonny with Tel in January. And then maybe they wouldn't have made that decision if they'd known the player that came out. But I'm certainly going to have a look. Because I'm sure there was a meltdown from Lubo and everybody when we thought it wasn't going to happen. Fine time, Sean. You need the proof. I don't need the proof to tell you that what happened with the United fans. Goldbridge. Everyone remembers that, right? Everyone remembers it. Everybody fucking remembers it. No, they weren't. Arsenal fans weren't in meltdown. Yes, they fucking were. Yes, they were. Goldbridge. Do you remember him? We've let Tel go to Tottenham. Tottenham. Don't pretend like you didn't see it. Load of nonsense. Sean, you still got the receipts for the Levy out fans when Levy drops an all-time window? Yeah. Got hundreds of them. If it happens, I'll bring it. You're going to send it. Yeah, Danny, do the Lord's work, mate. Do the Lord's work. Rance was in meltdown. There you go. 100%. So let's not pretend it didn't happen the way it did, because it did happen a certain way. Super chats. Akalushe Bomber incoming. Well, at this stage, mate, we'll probably be linked. We'll probably put in a bid, and then Arsenal or Chelsea will come in and buy him, because that just seems to be the way right now. Any talent that's out there, these motherfuckers are just buying them all up. Random dark horse signing. Kobbie Mainoo to Spurs, says Clifton. I don't rate Kobbie Mainoo. I mean, I do rate him, but I don't rate him at like 60, 70 million or whatever it is. That to me is madness, I think. Absolute madness. He will make it here. EPL is hard. Give him a break. Who's that? About Mathys Tel? Yeah, I think he just needs to get his confidence. Well, he's like I said before, though. I think someone that comes out with this like uber confidence, this super confident kind of like this, people that are just like bordering on like weird levels of I believe in myself. I think a lot of times in my experience in life, I see that a hell of a lot with salespeople all over the world, by the way. Australia, New Zealand, America, Belgium, Holland, France. Everywhere I've trained salespeople, there's always like 10% of them that have this ridiculous levels of confidence, and really they're hiding some massive insecurities. So I really hope that's not the case with I can't charge my fucking phone up. Can I charge my phone up? I need to get my phone back on. If anyone that's in my WhatsApp group, James, if you want to come on, mate, you're in the WhatsApp group. Just scroll up and then find the link, mate. Find the link. It's in the WhatsApp group. We got a super chat from Dermatron. Big up to you, Dermo. Hope you're okay, my man. Very, very cool of you, buddy. Hope you're doing well and keeping yourself out of trouble. Are we on? Are we charging up? No, we're not charging up. What's going on? Hang on a second, guys. One sec. Oh, shit. See out my window there. How do I charge this up? Should be able to work. Anyway, so to me, yeah, as I say, the Piero Hincapié thing, and the Nico Paz thing as well. Massive 70 million quid bid for him. It just doesn't look like it's value to me. Appreciate you, Dermo. Appreciate you, King J. Very cool of you, mate. Appreciate you, Box Kev. Listen, I'll take Akliouche right now. I think the more I've looked at him again and again and again because I'm trying to get my head around. Because I've often thought that this guy is, he's so one-footed. He's so one-footed that you either play him on the right and then you have to move like a Kudus over, or you have to move him into the 10. But you can't play him on the left wing. You cannot play a guy on the left wing that's entirely left-footed because it's so easy for a fullback that knows their game to be able to just show him onto the inside, and he won't do it because he's left-footed, and it just becomes templatable and easy to predict. So, not for me personally. But if you play him in the 10, I'll be all over it. The timing of the offers comes across as disingenuous, says Will. Yeah, I've got Frank. Frank's in the house. Big up, Frank. How you doing, mate?
Hello, mate.
How you doing?
Mate. All good, you?
Good, mate. What's going on? How you feeling?
I don't know how I'm feeling. I've woken up to there's quite a bit going on this morning, it feels, which is quite nice, but nothing actually that positive. So I'm hoping that I think that the Hincapie thing's probably a bit of a smokescreen for something going on. I don't know what that is, but yeah, at least something's going on for once. It feels like.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Sorry, mate. Sorry again. Sorry, I just opened up another tab and I could hear you on repeat. Then say that last bit again.
Just I think this is probably a bit of a smokescreen, the Hincapie thing at the moment, for something a little bit bigger going on. I mean, the fact that they said it was a loan with an obligation to buy suggests that they are laying out funds for something else now, and I don't think they'd be doing that if it was just Savinho at 70 million or whatever, as I think they can probably afford to do that now. And my money would be on this something quite big. I don't know what that is, and knowing Tottenham, it probably isn't, but we can dream. We can dream.
Do you think was the Piero Hincapié story ever realistic in your mind? I just feel like the fans are like, it's just one of those moments where, I don't know, imagine Tottenham putting a bid for Rodrigo today, right? And then suddenly we're in talks, we're advancing. Everyone suddenly gets their hopes up on an unrealistic outcome, and then the second that the realistic outcome happens, they lose their shit. It's almost like any chance will do for a good old fashioned meltdown, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think half these deals as well, it feels like we sometimes manifest them ourselves. Like everyone built up this idea that he's such a Tottenham style player, a bit like the Eze one. We kind of built up, he's a Tottenham style player. He suits playing for Spurs so much that then when it doesn't happen, this meltdown kind of begins. And so I imagine that this is probably the same sort of thing. I don't think I'd like him. I'd like him out. He's a good player, but I don't think he'll happen. I also would be surprised if they went and bought a left-sided one for 60 million. I think if they were to get a backup or a supposed backup or another option, it'd be less than 60 million for that sort of player. Given
who else is out there as a left-sided, left-footed?
This is the problem, I guess, isn't it? That I saw we were linked to Lucas Beraldo. I think it is at PSG yesterday. I saw that name thrown around. I mean, listen, I'd like to hope that the guys that are paid to find these guys have a better idea than I do. Put it that way. So hopefully they've got some ideas, and I think it'll be quite a busy sort of week now. But yeah,
so, it's going to be a mad. Every day there's going to be 1,000 stories. I might just have a 24-hour stream, just do it for charity, but just keep going. You know, it's just going to be one giant long clusterfuck of different options. Stay there 1 second, Frank. I was going to get a couple more super chats. Dean One Coxey, be up to you, mate. He says, Sean, the revision of Tel. That's because we got to see him and he's not up to standard. Are we not allowed to evaluate him and change our opinions? No, that's 100% you are. 100% you are. I'm just saying that the club would have been under the same impression as all of us and every other fan base before we signed him. And then we've signed him and then we've seen it. And my point was that I would imagine that if the club had the option to get out, to pull away, they might have taken it. They might have not signed him on a permanent deal and put that extra 40 million quid or whatever into something else. But the argument I was making was that everybody, or not everybody, most people, apparently Bar Saba, was saying that, and including other fan bases, were saying that how have we allowed Tottenham to get hold of Mathys Tel? But if that came with an obligation pending one outcome, which was does Mathys Tel want to stay, and he did, then we're stuck with a player that we probably wouldn't want to have. But at the time, when we didn't know whether he was ready for the Premier League, that we would have ended up with a player that, with the benefit of hindsight, we might not have had to have paid 45 million quid for. That's the point I was making. I'm not attacking the fans. I'm just saying that the club was in the same position as the fans. The fans at the time thought, "Yeah, I'm all over that. Big up to you, James." But the club also don't have a get out of jail on that one because they'd already agreed the deal, according to the reports that we've seen anyway. So that's the point I'm making. I'm not attacking the fans, by the way. I'm just saying that let's not pretend like what happened didn't happen, because that's what most people do. They like to forget what they said yesterday because today it's convenient to have a different take. But unfortunately, for people like content creators, there's clips of you saying what you say, but there's not necessarily clips of the comment section and the revisionism that takes place in the comment section. But big up to you, and big up Michael Selwyn, who's become a new YouTube member. Big up to you, Michael. Appreciate you, my man. I was supposed to do the fan value show last Wednesday, but then all hell broke loose with Eze, so I'll have to do it this week instead. We'll do it on Wednesday night. James, how are you doing, mate? How are you feeling back this morning?
Do you know what? Like, I've just been listening to you for the last hour, Sean. I kind of agree, but I kind of think, I agree with the fact that the Hincapie thing, there isn't necessarily a bid there. I know Fabrizio said something about 60 million in a loan with an obligation to buy, but then a couple of other well-trusted journalists have said that isn't the case. So you never know with these things. I think we were discussing, Sean, when we were doing the live stream, like if it's agents or clubs paying these top journalists to put something out there to get a better deal for the player. So I wouldn't go completely nuts on this Hincapie thing, although he's probably going to go to Arsenal. Did we actually, maybe we talked to them a bit, but did we actually agree a deal like that? I'm not so sure. So I'd say just calm down on that. However, we have got 7 days. And although a lot of transfers happened in the last week, at the moment, I think it's only a 4, pushing a 5 out of 10 transfer window. And we need a minimum of 2 new signings before the end of the window, in my opinion. So I guess I'm calming it down, but I'm also a bit agitated in the sense that we haven't got a lot of time. The names are running out. Nico Paz doesn't look like it's going to happen. So what's happening with the 10? Savinho pushing closer, edging, whatever you want to call it. We need to get that one done and then focus on the second one. And then suddenly you unite the fan base. Suddenly you get an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 window. But at the moment, in my opinion, it's only halfway there.
Yeah, 100%. Where do you think we're going to go next? And do you think we're going to get the Savio deal done, James?
I think we are. Frank, I can tell Frank's waiting for me because I've also got a. Do you know what? I'm sure you take the mick out of me all the time, and fair enough. I am not an ITK, but that source that I have has dropped me some information. So whether you want to hear it or not,
I always want to hear it. But
again, everyone coming to attack me to say if it's wrong, I'm not saying I'm an ITK. I'm getting some information from someone that is close within a Spurs group that's told me apparently attention has turned towards Morgan Rogers. Now, I don't know how true that is. I'm not putting my neck on the line here, but my tweet is blown up, so I'm going to get some in the muds if I'm wrong. But it's not me being wrong. So I'm kind of half saying that could happen, but half saying I could be in the mud. I know you're finding the video, Sean. I know you're already finding the ITK video.
Mud for you. You're always in the mud. You didn't think it could be true, and now you're in the mud.
The preamble. But if you listen, if it comes true, mate, if it comes true, then then we go.
Everyone will remember.
Yeah, come on, yeah. Sources, everyone has a source. They're never right, but we'll share them, of course. I know a guy who knows all the discourse. Content's got a content, and trust me, bro, it's my source.
You bastard. You bastard.
Sensational.
But jokes aside, I don't know. I've also been told that apparently that's coming into the main sort of media world in the next few hours. If it's not, everyone can come and throw pelters at me. If it's right, I'll have told you so. But yeah, I'm pretty 50-50 on that. I'm just being fed information. I don't know. They got the Eze bit right before, Arsenal coming in for him before Fabrizio Ornstein started tweeting it. So I'm getting, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? But no, listen, if it's wrong,
not the time, bro, not the time.
But if it's wrong, mate, if it's wrong, listen, I'm never getting involved in this sort of feeding information thing again. That's me retired for 2 tweets. And I will be throwing pelters at my source.
Mate, I retired on the Gibbs White one, to be honest.
Yeah, but there you go.
Never ever claimed ITK. Threw one out there because I was told by people, and I was like, I even said on the tweet, I was like, I'm not an ITK, never claimed to be, but just for what it's worth, 2 people that I met at the club, the ground at the Luton game, who do know what they're talking about, told me this. And I went to sleep at 9 p.m. and then I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was sweating for some reason, and my phone had been pinging off the hook, and I looked at my phone and it was like 400 messages. I was like, what have I done? What's gone on? And I was like, it's not good news or it's bad news. And of course, it was the absolute shocker of all time.
Listen, like I said, like I've also put in the tweet on the replies. Like, I've got people saying you're a BSer and all this, and I'm like, listen, I'm not saying I'm an ITK. I'm just getting information that I think might be right, but it might be wrong. If we get Morgan Rogers, by the way, you heard it here first. But if we don't, I might have to retire. So there we go.
Yeah. What are you saying, Frank? Are we getting Morgan Rogers?
I'd like to hope we are. I think Morgan Rogers is a player that takes you up a level as soon as he comes through the door, to be honest. I mean, that's like a proper, I know he's young, but that's a proper statement. Like, that's a real sort of let up in your level sort of player. I think he's unbelievable. So I would hope it's right. If it's wrong, then yeah, I think I have to leave my Spurs related partner. His own.
Oh dearie me.
I mean, what are we doing? Listen, Morgan Rogers would be, for me, a better player, a better signing than Eberechi Eze. That's a 10. Now, I think Rogers is a better part. Is for what we need. If you are to go and get a Savio, then you need a 10 who can pass the ball, who can drive with it, but his first thought isn't just to pick the ball up, turn and run. That's what Eze does so well. But he does so well doing that from the left wing spot. In the 10, you're going to get crowded out by, especially in big games, you're going to get a 6 that's just going to be on you like beans on toast. And then it's just not going to allow you to do that as easily. So you have to kind of rely on your ability to kind of to pass the ball with your first instinct. And that's a Morgan Rogers sort of 10 for me that I think is a better fit, but it's going to cost you more money. But yeah, look, I mean, at this stage, like I feel like Tottenham are now fishing. They're very much clearly putting their fishing rod in a certain pool, and that pool is unfortunately, swamped by people with bigger rods. If that makes sense. Pause. And obviously, and they got a better bait as well. The draw of going to an Arsenal or Chelsea or whatever else is. But this is the dilemma I'm trying to suggest to people. Like, how do you close the gap on the teams above you if every time you go for a player that they want, then they just come in and go, we can do that as well. Then what do you do?
I don't know. Sorry, so I've just been distracted, Sean. Someone's just said in the chat I look like Chris Cowlin. It's probably the worst sort of piece of something that's ever been said to me before, to be honest. Like, this stream's going well so far, honestly. I'm getting mudded. You're putting out ITK claims on things that are very unlikely. I'm delighted, mate, because you know what? I'll be reminded. The takeaway from this 2-hour show so far has just been swung towards James is in the mud. It's great to see, mate. Thank you very much. All good.
James, you're doing the Lord's work for me, my man.
Content's got a content, like you said, Sean. So it looks like I might be in the mud. Looks like a few people are going to be coming straight for my head if by tonight we haven't got a Morgan Rogers bomber. But anyway, Lubo's joined. Martin Yole's brother. How are you doing, Lubo?
Lubo, Martin Yole's brother. Would you like me to send you the link on an email, mate? Is that easier for you?
Yeah, if you can, that'd be great. Thanks.
Okay, no worries. Good. How you feeling, mate, about this morning?
Who, me?
About this news. Or
very
not
upset. I'm very upset, y'all. You're disrespecting the Alabama accent here. It's not on. When someone said put in an Alabama accent, I was like,
Lubo looks like Richard O'Brien from Crystal Maze.
Who?
Richard O'Brien.
The fans, please.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me send in this. That's sales at.
How am I getting called James Cowlin now? Tier 1.
I can't believe this. I don't think I've ever learned anyone's email address because it's usually just stored. But I know Lubo's email address like the back of my hand. I've sent him so many StreamYard links because he doesn't know how to copy and paste from his phone to his computer. Crystal Maze was a great program. Yeah, Lubo, it's sent to you, mate. To click in whenever you want to join. Okay, mate. The reality is right that again, this is where I want to take the conversation now. How the fuck do you close the gap? How do you do it? Like, it's not as simple as just pay the money. Like, it's or pay bigger wages. Like, every time we're going in for players, the same is happening at Newcastle as well. It's not a Tottenham thing. This is a little bro thing. Like every time a team like Newcastle or Tottenham, and I'm sure if Villa weren't under the mud, in the mud even, they would be also in the same sort of bracket, right? Like, if every time a big player comes along that's young, Arsenal want him, Chelsea want him, City want him, Liverpool want him. It's happened so many times this summer that the second-tier teams are not being allowed to grow because every time there's a player that they go after, someone bigger comes in and takes the bait. So, they take that, they win the bait, if you like. Like, I don't know what we're doing here. Lubo, I'll come to you, mate. What's the solution, buddy? What's going on?
What's the solution? What are we looking at? We're looking at moving quicker and earlier. I saw a comment in the text in the comments just saying 27th. It wasn't quite 27th. It might have seemed like 27th last season, but 17th doesn't help. A good season this year, and I think all of a sudden, players will be looking at Spurs in a slightly different light. I think we moved too late, but there is no excuse for losing players on release clauses. And I think if we're being honest, yes, there is a pecking list. Yes, there are certain players that we go in for that other clubs go in for, bigger clubs than us currently go in for, that we will lose. But I think that what we've got to do is that when we get an opportunity and there is some, like a release clause, I mean, we're the only club to have lost 2 players on release clauses. It's not even that, how do we do that?
Because we're not the only person that's bidding for the players on release clause.
No, but I think the problem is, Sean, that I think it's down to payment structure as well. I don't think we help ourselves by trying to get the best possible payment structure for us and the worst possible payment structure for the selling club. And I think that's
I hear that, and I agree with you on that 100%.
So for me, it's not easy. It's really not easy. United come in for Mbeumo. It's his childhood club. He wants to go, and that was, and I think they came in. They were probably in talks before Frank even joined Spurs. So United had a head start there anyway. As I think we messed out, Gibbs White, I think we could have dealt with it differently by offering under and then offering over, rather than making it quite obvious that we knew what the release clause, the release fee was. But I think we've got to go in there. Sometimes I heard what you're saying before, Sean, offer more money up front. Use, if we've got financial power, use it. Other clubs won't have the money to put 70%, 80% up front. Might hurt him, but do it if it gives us an advantage. So there are 2 or 3 different options, and then it's a fight, and then hopefully we've got a superb manager now. I think he's the best. He's the best person who's come into our club in this transfer window. Definitely the best incoming is Frank, and I think he'll get us higher than I thought he would. I thought it would take longer. When I was on with you, Sean, and the others a couple of months ago, I said I thought the first half of the season there'd be some very hit and miss results. We've only had 2 games, but I think the performance at City encourages me to think that maybe it won't quite be so up and down for the first half and that good for the second half. I think we'll do okay this season. I can see 6th, 7th, definitely.
Sorry, can I just go on? Carry on. Sorry.
But he does need help in the next few days. He does. I said on your show yesterday, Sean. We're a few players short, aren't we? Even after the injured players come back, we're
definitely short. But I'm just sitting there right now thinking, all of the targets now are getting increasingly difficult, and I subscribe to the frustration. I do, but I know people are always going to just like be emotional in these moments. I get it. So there's not much point. It's pissing into the wind. You're never going to be able to get like calmer heads prevail. So, but I do think that there's absolute reason to get frustrated because the targets one by one are getting picked off, and we're getting gazumped, cop blocked, or little broed in every single environment. And I hope that Daniel Levy doesn't pull the trigger on someone like El Canouse just because that's the one that you can get done rather than the one that Thomas Frank actually wants. If Thomas Frank wants him, then fair enough. I'll back that, but I really hope that that's, it like just saving grace or whatever is not the reason to do business. Sorry, James, you wanted to come in there. Sorry, mate, I didn't mean to.
No, don't be silly. I was just going to say with Lubo, like I'm delighted with the start of the season. Don't get me wrong. I think he alluded to it afterwards. Like it could be an up and down start to the season, and although we've won 2 games, I think what I'm worried about is the fact that if we go in, say for example, what's our next game? Bournemouth at home, right, on Saturday. Say we lose that game, you just know how this fan base reacts. And I think just because we've beaten City away doesn't now mean we're going to go on a 7-8 game unbeaten run. And the other point is, under Ange to start with, I'm not being pessimistic, but with Ange to start with, we went on an incredible 10-game run. And so my point is, I hope that the ownership learn from that, and the fact that we're not just comfortable now with what we've got because we've won 2 games, we've done well in the Super Cup. We still need that backup. We still need that bolstered squad. We need a better backup bench. 2 or 3 injuries like we were discussing on yesterday's stream, and suddenly you're like, yeah, we could have a problem here. So I know Hincapie is not going to happen, but you kind of need a left-sided centre-back to be able to go, right, if Van der Ven gets injured, we've got someone else to come in and be adequate replacement. Man City have that. Obviously, they got thumped the other day, but you look at their bench and it's just a completely different kettle of fish to what we're dealing with. And so my point is, just because we've started well, I'm not going against what Lubo said. I think, we could see an up and down start to the season, but I don't want the fan base to just react. I don't want them to just react and go, look, we should have signed this, this, and this. I want the board to act now in the next week, 7 days, by the way, and get 2 or 3 signings in so we don't have that excuse, so we can let Thomas Frank have what he wants. If injuries occur, then we've got that backup. And so that's all I was going to add to Lubo's point. I completely agree, but I think, we could see a few hiccups along the way because it's a new manager. It's a lot of it's a new team, especially Palhinha, Kudus bedding in. It's gonna take time. So I think the fan base should just give.
The problem is, James, right? The fan base right now, at least on, I genuinely mean this. When I go to Tottenham games, and people will you can disagree with me as much as you want in the chat, but I've got evidence of walking through the stadium and outside the stadium as a one take. I do it deliberately as one take, right? So I just walk up to people, if they tell me to fuck off, and I just laugh and move on because I don't want to be accused, like other channels have been in the past, of showing clips of interviews with people that then they may be lean. Oh, actually, I don't hate this owner. I don't hate him. I think he's done a good job. I love the stadium. I think we're doing blah blah blah. I'm conscious of where we are in the pecking order. And then when you see 2 or 3 of those among one that says I hate him, another one that says I actually think he's brilliant, then the people that have a persuasion, people like Stel, who just, as much as I'm sort of working with the guy, like he cannot believe in his mind that the world doesn't see that people don't see the game through the exact same lens that he does. No disrespect to him, because I know a lot of people feel that way about it. So that's why opinions are subjective, right? But so that's what, and so when I used to see we are Tottenham TV doing those kind of interviews about that stuff around the days of the old protests, then you see the comments going, "Oh, you're just cherry picking the ones that you're a club, you're bought by the club, you're owned by the club, all that bollocks." And it's nonsense, right? But whenever I go to Tottenham, that's why I deliberately do one take. So I just random people and see what they think. And the overarching narrative is you'll get a few people that will say hate him, a few that will say he's great, but the most people will say he's not perfect, but he's good enough, or he's taken us as far as he can and done a good job, but now it's time for someone else. So the bulk of the viewpoint is either he's good enough but not fantastic, or he's done very well, but let's move on. And so but the overarching narrative with regards to the online space right now is when we win a game, like Man City, we'll keep our powder dry. But the second that something goes wrong, it's let's explode into a rage of negativity. And so, like on Saturday when we won, I put out a tweet going, "What, like no meltdown today?" Because I'm a wind-up merchant. I love the wind-up, right? But the reality is that there's only a melt. Like it's just everyone is just waiting for the next meltdown. And social media it's so unbelievably slanted towards like if I have to be positive, I'm not going to be positive. I'm just not going to speak up. But the second that something negative happens, I'm going to apoplectic with rage. And I just find it's a weird thing with social media. It just doesn't exist in the real world.
But I get that. I completely agree. But sorry to go back to my point, but I want the fan base not to have an excuse to be able to then go in on the board. If the board do their job now, there will be no sort of excuse. Levy out, Enoch out. If they do their job now and get in the players they want, and we can all agree as a community that it's a 9 out of 10 window, we can't go, this is Levy's fault. We've started performing bad. We can't then start throwing pelters at Thomas Frank unless, of course, things go wrong. You need to be able to stop that reaction by acting accordingly. So the board has to do their job now, and then we don't have that excuse when something goes wrong. Do you see what I mean?
You know
I do. Wasn't the excuse before why to hate Levy because it's like no trophies? Then we go and win the third biggest trophy you can win, and there was no congratulations. There was none of that fair play. None of it. Even from this man down here, gritted teeth. He said it was luck. It wasn't down to Levy. And then suddenly the wind changes back towards negativity in the window, and then it's let's just get the sticks out again.
You know what, Sean?
Like 2 months ago, we lifted a European trophy.
Sean, we're on Monday week as the transfer window finishes. We're on at 8 o'clock, which is 3 hours, I think, after. I think the window closes at 5 that day. There's nothing more that I would want as a fan that we pick up a top centre back, stroke left back, left-sided player. 10 and an 11 that excites me, and I'm looking forward to the season, and I can come on the show and say, well done the board, you have backed the manager.
Yeah.
For me as a fan, that's all I want. I don't want to be looking at, coming away from PSG thinking we're always those 2 players short. That last 10 minutes, if we'd have had those extra 2 players, and that's how it's been for many, many years. We always seem to fall short with Poch. We never had enough quality players because he wasn't backed, and this is, if we can get away from that, I'll be absolutely delighted.
Yeah. Listen, by the way, if the window does finish the way it looks right now, then I'll also be fucking frustrated, 100%. It won't change my opinion of the board and what they've done for Tottenham up until now, but I'll still be frustrated with the window. There's like you can chew gum and walk on the street at the same time, right? You can have 2 opinions, right? You can short term, you can say in the moment Tottenham screwed up on the Morgan Gibbs White deal. 100%, I agree that it's because of them making it obvious that they knew things they didn't, and the fact that they didn't react to the fact that they allowed it to continue. They knew that they were in the wrong, and then obviously the Eze deal could have been handled differently, probably. But I also think that he was always going to join Arsenal as soon as Arsenal came in, and this assumption that if you just triggered the release clause, he would have come to Tottenham, I just don't subscribe to it. I think the second that we triggered it, Arsenal would have done as well, and he would have gone to Arsenal. Personally, this is my take. And the Hincapie thing, as I said it within 5 minutes of the show starting this morning. I said everyone is now going to get their hopes up on something that wasn't even on their radar 20 minutes ago. And if it turns out that it's not going to happen, then the meltdown's going to ensue. And look what happened. 20 minutes.
So, Sean, that's why I say, like, I'm not calling out Fabrizio Romano. I think he's a top journalist, but I think he has been sort of muddied a little bit recently because, I mean, Alistair Gold, who I trust probably more than ever, he's like, he's completely got a great relationship with the club. He's come out and said the Hincapie news wasn't, no bids happened or anything like that. Also, Ben Jacobs, again, take it with a pinch of salt. He said that no bid happened. So it's just really Fabrizio that said we actually bid the loan to buy thing. So this is the other thing is like how, again, not to repeat myself, but how much of this is just the Russell fan bases? How much is this to get a better deal for a player? You have to ask yourself those questions because how much of this is true, right? How much of that is true?
Well, Ali Gold said it's not happening, right? Or it's not real.
Alistair Gold, I'll get the tweet up in 1 second. He said about an hour ago that we didn't even make contact or something like that. Let me just get the actual
Just quickly about Fabrizio Romano as well, and it's not as I say, he's obviously brilliant, but it does feel like this summer he's been on. I'm not going to accuse him of being on the payroll, but it does feel a little bit like that from someone near around Tottenham. I mean, he's put out the same tweet about Savinho, worded ever so slightly different, probably 15 times.
Yeah,
Did the same with Eze. Gibbs White. He said a little bit less about Gibbs White when sort of the legal stuff was going out, but that was certainly in and around. And then this again this morning, it feels like from him and a few others that our name's kind of being thrown around a little bit. I imagine it's probably easy clickbait half the time. But it does feel a little bit like that. Listen, maybe we do want all these guys, and maybe we are in for all these guys, but it does feel a little bit like Fabrizio Romano is kind of really pushing that Savinho thing, which would suggest he's probably on the payroll from someone there or thereabouts.
Well, someone will wear those. But this is the thing I was suggesting earlier, right? Like we're assuming. I definitely think that there's absolute merit to the idea that people like Romano are used by third parties to push narratives, but whose? Doesn't mean it's got to be Tottenham's.
No.
If anything, it shouldn't be Tottenham's. It might be the agents of Savio. It might be a third party. It might be someone else that's sitting there saying, let's murder Daniel Levy. Let's create more. It could be anything, right? Like it could be who the fuck knows where these agents are being. But you see it in politics. You know for a fact it happens in politics, and where there's money, there's muck. So there's going to be. It's 100% in football. Football's the most corrupt game in of all sports, right? So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Romano isn't taking, backhanders in Bitcoin payments or whatever to put out certain narratives. Plus, of course, the other narrative is that he gets paid probably 300, 400 quid every time he puts a tweet out. The amount of engagement he gets, he probably earns a fortune from Twitter, an absolute fortune.
100%. Alistair Gold's tweet was Spurs are prioritising a number 10 and winger in the remaining days of the window. Thomas Frank would also like another centre-back with a belief Luka Vuskovic would benefit from a loan with regular football. And then it says Piero Hincapié does not appear to be a potential signing at this point. And that was after Fabrizio came out and said we bid or anything. So he basically was shutting it down. So
do you think Ali Gold's been fed that by the club?
I think there's a potential. I heard what you said, like, is that of the board saying, shut this down kind of thing. This is absolute nonsense from, the other guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, or it wasn't nonsense. Again, speculation here. And this is where I'll lean into the people that want to chastise Daniel Levy. Maybe there was truth to it. But then as soon as they put that out there, and then it's true that Arsenal are also interested and also making a move, and Daniel Levy's gone to Ali, or someone's gone to Ali Gold. Mate, can you shut this down in a polite way, please? Because what we don't want is there to be this narrative that we are trying and we're going to get little broed again by Arsenal. So you don't know what it is, but you know that there's a lot of things going on in the background, right, Lubo?
Yes, but do we not agree? I mean, Romano has very good PR, as a lot of these guys, Ornstein, etc. So I think with Vinay on there, he should be looking at, communication from the club has been absolutely appalling for as long as I can remember, and even in the 90s it was dreadful. We need a really good PR, a smooth, slick PR team at the club, because if stuff's coming out that isn't true, that needs to be put straight, and it needs to be put straight by the club. And if it's not true, then it's not going to hurt Frank with any of his ambitions regarding getting players in. So if he's really not interested in a player, then the Spurs should come out very quickly and say, we just want to say a lot of rumours going about on social media, in the press. This is not correct. Very quickly, a quick 3-liner, and it's done. And everybody knows where they stand. I mean, this is just typical. It's always there's a firm offer expected soon. They're preparing, they're advising. It's never there is an offer. There is an actual offer. Why is it we're always getting ready? We're always working on the situation. That's all nonsense. It's all.
But Tottenham aren't putting that stuff out there, Lubo, are they? Though they're not in charge of the ecosystem that is the transfer rumor mill. There's a whole look. I'll be honest, right? I'll be entirely honest with you. I'm a participant in it more than most Tottenham channels are. Although I still think every time I talk about it, I get chastised for being clickbait. But yet, every other Tottenham channel also represents the exact same stories that I do. Mm-hmm. I might just be guilty of putting out more of a clickbaity thumbnail or whatever, but the content is the same. We all talk about the same stories. But like
Sure.
we as a content creators we're bottom feeders off of the people like the Pete O'Rourke's, the Romanos, the Courtsides, the Give Me Sports, who are mostly
Cool.
making it up. But it's
Cool.
a whole ecosystem where everyone's making money off of bullshit.
But in your show, you would be saying there were rumours about X player, but Spurs have come out and denied it, and that will be part of your show. That will be part of you giving
What
information.
other clubs do that, Luvo?
I
No club. If the clubs participate in the bullshit rumor mill, it's once you do it once, you have to do it every time. Because if you come out and say there's no truth to the Morgan Rogers rumors, then when you don't say the same thing about Armand Calamuendo that was linked by Give Me Sport, then people are going, well, Tottenham haven't shut that one down, so therefore there's truth to it. So like it's a double-edged sword. You can't.
How do you sort it then? How do you sort it so the clubs stop getting this bad press?
I think that it's up to the fans to recognise that they're being emotionally leveraged by people that are making money out of it, that are making shit up.
Yeah.
As an individual, you've got to be you're responsible for your own feelings.
Right, of course. Sean, I've got to fly.
Appreciate you, mate. Good luck. Enjoy your lunch.
Cheers, Lubo. Good to see you, mate.
Both of you guys. See you guys.
Okay, take care, mate.
You guys have got to go soon as well, haven't you?
Well, I've just nudged ours back just because I want to have a little word about Morgan Rogers.
Oh yeah, let's get this one up. Let's get this one up.
Listen, it's not a good source, but it's started to trickle in, right?
Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, what's it going to take to get hold of this geezer?
Apparently, we were sort of swimming around and tested Villa with some sort of like 55-60. They basically said go away. Apparently, it's going to be like 80-90 to get him, which is nuts. 80-90 million. That's in euros. I think 78 million pounds is what I put on my tweet, which is what I've been told. But
how much? Again,
78 million pounds. So about 90 million.
It's not going to get him out the door. If you want to get Morgan Rogers, you have one chance and one chance only, and you basically say, well, I've been saying this for a while. I know it doesn't work this way in business. I'm experienced enough in business to know that you don't act this way. But there is the time expiration of value that you have to consider, and there is obviously the ability for them to get a replacement. So if you want to have a crack at an unrealistic target like him, whatever your top number is, decide it amongst yourselves in the accountant's room and say, how much can we realistically drop on this guy? How much value does he realistically bring? Whatever that number is, you phone up Villa and say, look, one chance only. Appreciate you got your own time. You need time to try and do this with best and fair, intentions. And so like, this is it. This is the very top number. If you reject it, there will not be a second bid. I'll give you 95 million quid or whatever it is, whatever that number is. And then you just say yes or no, 24 hours. If we don't hear from you, we'll assume you're saying no, we're going to move on. And that's it. And then Villa have got 24 hours to figure it out. But if you go back, if Tottenham do this forever, like 50 million, 55 million, 60 million, 65 million, it's just at this stage, you can't do that anymore. And that's why I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, like, Daniel Levy's not the guy to be leading these negotiations at this stage, because he's not the guy that goes into negotiations without leverage, and he has none. He has absolutely zero leverage at this stage of the window.
But where are we at? Where are we at with Villa? Where are we at with Villa in terms of them needing money? Because I know a couple of months ago they were like desperate need for some.
I think they're still in that way. I'd say they're still in that way. I mean, maybe. I mean, their window's been pretty dismal, isn't it? So, I mean, I think from a Villa point of view, if Spurs were to offer 90 million quid or 85 million quid, whatever, that sort of number, you look at it and you go, they can take it and hope they get back into the Champions. They can keep him and hope they get back into the Champions League and make some of that back, and then they're okay and whatever. Or they keep him and he has a worse year or gets a bad injury or whatever, and then he goes for 40 or 50 or 60 next summer. Or they sell him now and take that 90. And I think they're probably in a position where they don't have anyone of value really close to that in that Villa team. Pau Torres, Kamara got injured the weekend. Pau Torres, Kamara, and probably Watkins are the three sort of higher end ones. That probably would cost you 50 or 60, but I don't think any of them would cost you 80, 90 like Morgan Rogers would. So I think this is probably, from their point of view, a really good chance to make a bit of money if it is true. Which I back your you're in the know run, James.
I'm in the mud. Yeah, I could be in the mud if this is wrong. But I mean, listen, I've seen someone in the chat, by the way, just to clear things up, saying Football Insider said it first. To be honest, even if he did or didn't, I didn't even see his tweet. So anyway, but
To be honest, the Morgan Rogers story is not like a brand new one, is it? Like we've been linked with him for a week or so, right? A week and a half, whatever. But
yeah.
But
But whether the bid goes in,
as well. I think at this stage, everyone is just saying things in that world. But if you know someone that's closer to the club, mate, I'll let you have. I'll give you your flowers if it comes off. If it doesn't, I'm definitely coming for the.
Yeah, no worries.
Mud.
It's a dangerous game, mate. It's a dangerous game to be tweeting those sorts of things out right now, bro. I learnt my lesson. You know, we shall see.
I've got more enemies in here than friends in the chat now. So like,
mate, there's no value. There's no value to it. There's no value. I learned that, mate. I literally put out, guys. I'm not an ITK, never claimed to be, but for what it's worth, I was at the Tottenham game with Luton. I was sat with the head honcho from the Tunnel Club, who 100% knows people at the club. 100%. He spends all he's the biggest sort of most paying fan or whatever, and also the head of security. They don't know each other. Both of them separately told me 100%. So I just mentioned it halfway through my drive home video, and then put a tweet out, and then went to sleep at 9 o'clock. Woke up at 3 a.m. to 400 fucking messages going, "You absolute bozo!" I don't know shit. I just tell you what. Yeah, there's no value. If you're right, no one's going to remember it. If you're wrong, everyone is going to come after you.
Yeah, maybe. Someone's just said, "I believe in Cowling." This has got to stop, by the way. Stop now. Sean, what's your opinion on Morgan Rogers, though? What's your opinion on him? Would you like it? Yeah,
the player's phenomenal. 100%. He's phenomenal. I'd rather him than Eze. Genuinely, I think he's a better fit for what we need. But 95 to 100 million will get him. It's a lot of fucking money.
James, you've just been asked if you're Hincapie.
No, I'm not. Definitely not.
Yeah. Listen, if not him, guys, if not Rogers, if not Paz, we're getting rejected left and right here. If not Hincapie, then where do you go after this? Apart from El Canoes, which is probably doable at the cheaper end, which is that's gonna invoke even more outrage. Like if Tottenham Hotspur give a fuck about their reputation, even if Thomas Frank wants him, even if the fan base are not going to tolerate or accept an El Canoe signing after all of these bigger names, right? None at all.
It's a bit of a shame, I think, as well, because I think he's a good player, and he's one that we spoke about yesterday, James, that he's one that's probably quite high up my list of ones I'd like at Spurs.
Yeah.
And I think he's one that if he did come in, there'd be obviously a lot of noise and frustration. Would probably change the tune pretty quickly. I think he's a good player. Whether they look at Paqueta, but I don't see him getting two players from West Ham in one window. I mean, if Bissouma was to go the other way, then maybe. But I mean, it feels like it's quite limited once you start. You've knocked off the top sort of 8 options or whatever we've done.
Yeah. What do you think? Is Akliouche the sort of player you like? Akliouche apparently is the way you say his name.
I have not probably seen enough, but he looks pretty good. He looks from as I say, from highlight reels and things that they make everyone look good, though, don't they? So yeah, I mean, he looks like a good talent, but I think I'd probably currently rather El Canoes, as to the disappointment of probably every other fan on the planet.
Yeah, I don't get this. Yeah, Frank wants El Canoe, so I don't get it. I don't think he's that good.
You don't rate him, no?
Well, I'm not saying he's bad. I just don't think he's like Champions League level. I think we've gone from talking about Eze, Morgan Gibbs White. Then we've got Nico Paz on the bracket below it, and then we've got this guy El Canoes. I don't get it. I don't get the hype, to be honest. I really don't. I mean, he plays for Leicester.
Would you take Garnacho, by the way?
Yeah. Do you know what? I think you would, Frank.
I would, Frank.
Yeah, I think there's a player in there. I mean, if Frank wanted him and he thinks that he could get a tune out of him, there's a player in there. He's not my number one. I'd rather obviously Savinho, but I think if there was a deal to be done, then I'd certainly be up for it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Look, we shall see, guys. We shall see. Have you sorted out that redirect thing?
Yeah. Apparently, but I don't know if it's working. Anyway,
Try again.
but with Garnacho, I feel like it depends on there is definitely a attitude issue there to an extent. We don't know how much of it. Obviously, we don't live in the dressing rooms, but there's no doubting that he is an exceptional talent. It's just how often can you get that out of him for how many games a season? You know, is he gonna? You know, Thomas Frank's no D-Ed policy. Is he going to fit into that? You know, will
Probably
Thomas
not.
Frank want him? You know,
Yeah.
there's the questions I'd ask, but I don't know. It's a weird one, but I don't know. I think if this Morgan Rogers thing heats up, that people will start to go, I love that player. But whether you spend 90 million on him, will we say if he flops, then that's an overpayment? You know, that's what you're always going to get.
Here you go, an interesting one. Tottenham are adamant that no contact, no offer, and no interest in Bayer Leverkusen defender Piero Hincapié. That's from the Mirror. That to me sounds like they are very conscious of the fan. This is exactly what I fucking said. Exactly what I fucking said. Right? Like they are worried about the meltdown that's going to ensue from bullshit rumors. And there might have been truth to it, we don't know. But the fan base is in meltdown now because of a bullshit rumor. And now that he might be going to Arsenal, they're entirely aware of that and going, for fuck's sake, like, we're not interested in the guy. Maybe they are interested in the guy. Maybe they did make a bid, and maybe they now know that there's no chance of getting him, and they just don't want to be seen to be losing out little broed by Arsenal again. And so they're now coming out again. John Cross, like, this is a perfect example, right, of the Mirror or any journalist being told, yeah, just like I'll give you 100 quid, I'll give you £1,000, whatever. Just put the fucking story out, please, that we're not interested in this clown, because the meltdown on Twitter is going to be a certain way, and it's built on something that we haven't, you know, that we don't want people to think that whether there's truth to it or otherwise, they're trying to shut it down. So on that basis, forget about Piero Hincapié. We now know whether there was interest or otherwise, we now know for sure, in my opinion, that either there was no truth to it at all, or if there was truth to it, that now they know that they're not going to get the guy and they're going to lose out to Arsenal again. And so the fan base will go into meltdown. So can everyone please calm down about that fucking one, please? Can everyone calm down? Because the fan base is just insane. Oh, you know, Stelios is on. Hello, Stel. How you doing?
Sorry. I've just been called Stephen Merchant. I mean, that is the lowest thing. That is the lowest thing I have. That's rough.
Your
really
viewers are savage. Your viewers are horrible. I'm joking.
They're usually very nice, to be entirely honest. But today they've got after you. You've got Chris Cowlin and Stephen Merchant in the house.
I mean, that's probably a good time for me to head out and go and sort out ours. But yeah, I mean, it's what way to go.
Appreciate you, James. I'll redirect across to you guys when we're done. If you guys want to jump off now, Stel wants to have a quick final say, I guess. Welcome to the show, Stel. How are you?
I'm going to go before fireworks go off. Stel, nice to see you. See you later, mate.
You too, mate. Have a good day.
Cheers, James. I'll redirect across to you guys in a minute. All right, Stel?
Why must fireworks go off? I just want...
It's your debut on the channel. Is this your debut on the channel, is it?
Yeah. Debut on the channel. Who would have thought? Here I am, Spurs Talk Show. Well, miracles do happen, people.
Our times have changed. What's going on?
Yeah, look. Sean, you've heard me say on the Spurs 5, and I'll repeat it tonight. I've been saying it on Tottenham Away for 2 years. I don't believe the journalists. I don't believe the ITKs. I don't listen to anything so-called football agents say. I don't believe any of the Twitter social media accounts. It's just, if you take a step back and you look at everything these people have said over the last 2-3 years, and you look at actually what's happened, maybe 5%, 10% is true, and the other 90% is just gossip and speculation driven to create an industry where they can make money from. And we're the guinea pigs of their industry. We are literally used and manipulated so they can coin, and we just sit here getting angry, frustrated, and once in a while maybe a bit of joy. I don't listen to any of it, none of it. You know, Spurs are in for Paz, Hincapie for this guy. I'll wait and see who we sign. Like, nobody mentioned Kudus during the window, and out of nowhere we just plucked Kudus out of thin air. So We'll probably
And
sign a couple of players.
Plenia was a late one. Gibbs White came out of nowhere. It didn't actually end up happening, but there was clearly some truth to it. Even
Exactly.
Odebear was nowhere to be seen, right? And then he came out of nowhere, and then we got him. I know he might not be the player for you, but that story didn't really have many legs before it became a real thing. So yeah. Listen, I hear you, mate. When you made that point the other day, I completely agree with you. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever, there is an ecosystem, there is an industry where there's money, there's muck, and the football is the most corrupt sport, right? And so it's no surprise that these. I 100%, by the way, believe that. Oh, hang on. That this story that's just been get rid of that. That the way that's written, adamant, no contact, no offer, no interest. I 100% believe that has come from the club because they're terrified of another outrage on Twitter that's about to ensue over something that 2 hours ago no one had any thought process or desires or even expectations of happening. But the fact that some donut like Romano put it out there, and then suddenly it's shut down 5 minutes later by Ornstein, and that Arsenal are going to little bro us again. That's the club saying, "Fucking put the message out." There's no truth to it. Whether that's true or not is irrelevant, but the club clearly are worried about the influence of ignorance, if that makes sense.
Do you know what I would do? I thought about this last season. If I owned Tottenham Hotspur, I would revolutionise the entire industry. I would create. Well, we've already got a Tottenham Hotspur channel. What I would do, I would have once a month a video where the chairman and other key figures in the club, we go live once a month with Spurs fans like this. We go live as the owners. And also, during the transfer window, I would have a weekly Friday update, all things transfer at Tottenham, where we tell you where we're at. We are the voice, not them. And I would just destroy the industry for all the journalists and the ITKs. I would own it. I would own that space.
What we're looking for and player names. Exactly. But if you give away the player names.
Well, you'd say, look, we know we need a number 10. We're in the market for a number 10. If you hear speculation that we're signing a left back, a right back, ignore. We only want, at the moment we're looking for a 10. If a left winger comes up that we can strike a deal with, we will look at it. But right now, we're currently looking in Italy and we're currently looking in the UK. They're the two markets we're looking in because we've identified some talent there. I'd give enough information to shut down all the noise you're hearing elsewhere, but not too much information to jeopardize any deals that we're involved in. But I think that kind of fan engagement just puts to bed all the speculation and the gossip.
Yeah.
Or something down that line. That's what I would do if I owned Tottenham. I would take over.
It would be nice to see an innovation in the game in that regard because there's a hell of a lot of people making a hell of a lot of money out of bullshit. 100, and I 100% subscribe to that with you. 100%, I completely agree with you on that. Adrian, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just logged in when you talk about Morgan Rogers. I mean, like some of these stories, they do exasperate you, don't you? I mean, he only signed a 5-year contract at the end of last season. I mean,
we're not going to sign Morgan Rogers. No chance.
No, we're not. I mean, I know everyone's ruled out Hincapie as a player I wanted, and if he's got a release clause, if we're not interested, then obviously we won't activate. But his release clause was only supposed to be about 52.5 mil. I would have activated just to please the fan base. We're getting a player in. I mean, as soon as we're in for a player,
he doesn't want to come to Tottenham.
Well, fair enough. Then he won't come. Then will he? If the player don't want to come, it doesn't matter.
All that stuff is irrelevant to the fan base.
Yeah.
The fan base don't care. The fan base only care about what they. It doesn't matter whether it's true or otherwise. And that's what Stel's saying, right? Like, and I 100% agree with him that the fan base are reacting to information that no one knows if there's any truth to it, and it creates either positive outrage in the moment and then negative outrage when it doesn't happen. Unfortunately, you're never going to stop the rumor mill working because there's so much money at play. How much money do you think Romano makes per tweet? I bet you Romano makes like 50 grand a month out of Twitter just on the impressions alone.
There's too much of a knee-jerk reaction from fans who just don't give each situation enough thought, really, isn't it? That's what it is, because we know. I mean, we know most of it's bullshit. I mean, the only way how can you get information anyway? You have to be close to the club. The only good information or closest information, if you got someone like Ali Gold, and he's going, oh, come on, give me something, give me something, give me something. Like I can say at the beginning of the season, we knew that we wanted a defender. Now, it may have changed because of injuries. We wanted a defender, we wanted a midfielder, and we wanted a striker. Right. That's all you know. Then you're going to be linked with every defender, every midfielder, and every striker out there. There's good players out that we could get in. I think you're going for Premier League proven, you go for Paqueta, don't you? You do. I mean, you can do a job, you do a good job for us. Pellegrini would be an absolute steal. They want to get him off the books, 6 mil wages he's on. He's 29, but we brought Perisic in at the same age. He would improve us even at his age. Some say his legs have gone a little bit. He still plays for Italy. Well, check all that stuff out, and if that's true, then don't go in for him. But I don't browbeat people. I just put the videos up in the links in your chat and my WhatsApp channel, and I'll let people make their own mind up over players, although they can always look good on videos. But what I tend to look for in midfield...
YouTube highlight reels are fucking dog shit, mate. Ronnie, you go and look up Ronnie Rosenthal's best bits on his YouTube, and you'll see that hat trick he banged in top bins against Southampton in the FA Cup. But he's an absolute shocking player. Never look at a highlight reel and think you make your mind up on a player.
You lot going more on stats and green bars than I do. I'm busy enough doing what I do. I just cover different angles of the club, right? And information, try and get as many facts as I can. But with videos, what I tend to look for, Stel's a coach. I don't know what he looks. When I'm looking at those videos, if it's a midfielder or a striker, 3 things I look for: players with vision who move the ball quickly that can make things happen. So if you are a tap-in merchant, I'm going to suss you out, right? If you position those plays poor as a defender, I'm going to see that. I'm going to see if you can't intercept danger and things like that. There are things you can look for in those videos if you look closely. Like if you scrutinise them, you can find out stuff. I mean, we know the obvious players that are good because they're already proven and out there, right? The ones that are really good. But finding someone who's a bit different, I agree with you. I looked at El Khanouchi, looks a star in that video. I ain't going to go back and look at him unless we were going to go and get him for 30 million or whatever it is, Then I'll go and have a good look at him and think, well, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But listen, rather than going through the transfer news views includes all that stuff again, like Stel, what's your? Are you someone that's on Spurs 5 tonight? Are you going to lean into this as an opportunity to bash Daniel Levy? Like I know the fan base will, even though there's like clearly no concise knowledge of whether there was any real desire to get the player.
No, I stick to what I've been saying for the last 3-4 weeks. Look, I know fans going to an absolute meltdown. Like it's quite. I don't know. It's astonishing how big the meltdown is if you say, the reason I wanted Ange to stay in is the reason I'm seeing now, right? And I'll just repeat it. And then the comments will lose their minds. That's fine. I'll still be on YouTube regardless if people keep their minds or not. I just felt that Frank was never truly going to be backed the way fans would like to see a manager backed, i.e. lots of quality players and not kind of mishy-mashy. And the reason is, I honestly believe the board were looking for a manager they believed could work with the current squad more than anything else. Get the most out of this squad because the previous manager they felt couldn't do it. And let's just bring in a couple of extra additions, nothing too special, but 1 or 2 pieces, that should be it. The injury of Maddison meant they were forced to now look for a 10. If Maddison's fit, we're not looking for a 10, in my view. And that's why I think Frank was brought in. I don't think he was brought in to rebuild Tottenham with lots of wonderful new players. I never, ever felt that, which is why I was, keep Ange, because he's now demanding experienced players. And every manager that gets sacked at this club, they get to a point where they demand or they give suggestions they want more quality players as opposed to the current mishmash. And that's what you're seeing now. And in a way, is Frank not getting a better tune out of the current squad?
100%.
Sarr so far looks much better. Richarlison's looking better in the way we're set up. Johnson's still scoring goals. As much as he's not a good footballer, he's still scoring goals. The defence looks far more solid. Bringing in the 6 now protects the back line, and it also allows us to be more solid in that middle area. And the wing backs are looking better because they're not being pushed up to the top of the pitch. So you could argue this is why they brought in Frank and he's doing his job. But as Spurs fans, we have a belief that we're not going to win major honours unless we sign more quality players, because this squad is lacking when we have to play 2-3 games a week
100%.
and when we get injuries. So
But how do you sign the quality players? This is the question I've been asking this stream all day, all morning.
Yeah.
I'll ask you, then I'll ask Adrian. How do you sign the quality players, right? That, like the Morgan Rogers, like the Ezes, like the whoever, Hincapies, whatever, insert whoever the fuck you want there. How do you sign them if every time you try to sign them, a club that has a higher frequency and propensity to win trophies, that also is not short of cash through whatever mechanisms they're utilizing, whether it's just wealthier clubs or whether it's loophole management? How do you draw those players to Tottenham when the opportunity to win more trophies, even if it comes at only playing 50% of minutes, is more likely to happen at an Arsenal, or Chelsea, or City, Liverpool, or to a lesser degree United?
Sure,
How do you solve that Gordian knot? That to me is the solution.
I can answer this. Sure, Adrian, can I just quickly answer this and you go? Because this is something I've spoken about before. We are never going to compete with United, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Arsenal, Liverpool. In the current state of football, we're not going to compete with them. Okay, financially we can, but if we go into a head-to-head battle with them, they'll always win because they've got more clout. What we need to do is be smarter with our recruitment. We've done it before. Son, Romero, Van der Ven. We find these players that are good
before they're great.
Yeah, and that's where
isn't that what we did with Destiny Udogie, maybe to a degree. Jed Spence that's emerging. Pape Sarr.
Yes.
Pape Sarr
and Udogie have to prove it. Let's see, because
but that's what the attempt has been, though, right? And
then what you do, Sean, you can then bring in some really good players like Maddison and Kudus when they're at clubs in a vulnerable position. Right. West Ham are in free fall. They're vulnerable. We should be going for Paqueta. We should spend 70 million and get Paqueta.
100%.
Maddison got relegated. They're vulnerable. Go grab him. So when a vulnerability happens and a really good player's there, then you go and get them. But in the meantime, we just need to have really high quality scouting. That's where a lot of our investment and our energy should be going into developing an elite level scouting system, because that's the only way we're going to compete. And I've said, would you not
argue that our youth player acquisition model has improved dramatically but those players take time to filter through to develop? Like Pape Sarr was one. We got him at 18. Berghvall, right? Jed Spence, Destiny Udogie, all those sorts of players. We have gone and done that thing that you're talking about, and they're starting to materialize. This is why I always said that before I knew that Ange was the guy, it didn't matter. When Conte left, I said, it doesn't matter who the next person is. He will be the guy before the guy, because the club has pivoted towards this youth-centric approach. And it doesn't matter whether it's him or Potter or fucking Conte Mark II or whoever else. The fact is the club have gone down this path of going after all these talented 18-year-olds, and they won't be ready yet. But the guy after the guy, right? That is, and maybe it's Thomas Frank. Right? Maybe it is Thomas Frank. That he's going to inherit this maturing level of talent that are now 21, 22, whatever. And hopefully those guys will be what you're talking about. You have signed a lot of players, and that's why I don't want to write Mathys Tel off, because he is someone that might be the next big thing.
You need a mixture, Sean. You need some youth. Half of them will work, half of them will fail. Of course. Not every youth signing we make will work. Like, for example, the opposite could be said. Tel, Udogie could be the ones that actually drop off. Yeah. But you need some youth. You need some good before they're great, as you say, and then you need those ready, proven ones.
But was Bentancur a good before they're great, or was Bentancur already proven? Was Kulusevski a good before they're great, or was he already proven? I'm not sure, but they've been good signings, I think.
They were good players at a club that wasn't using them, and they wanted minutes, and Paratici identified that. But overall, we either go too big in one area and not enough in the other area. And right now, we need to go bigger in that quality area. There is no excuse for us not to be going all out and spending big on Paqueta. There's none.
Exactly, 100%. Paqueta for me, I've said it, the second that we got Kudus, and I realised that actually we can go and get players from West Ham. Sorry, Adrian, I'll bring you in a second. The second that I just thought West Ham was a no-go zone, essentially. Right, like you're just not going to get a player out of there because we haven't done it since Scott Parker or whatever. But the reality is, once you get Kudus and then you see the meltdown, but the West Ham, if you go and pay a level of money for West Ham, Sullivan's still going to take it because he's a businessman. If and he can get 70 million quid for Paqueta, he would be absolutely satisfactory to me. He'd be brilliant, and he can play that mold of the Gibbs White, the 8/10. But apart from that, when you talk about going and get the ready-made players, that's what we're trying to do right now. If you were to believe the rumors, and I know you don't, and that's fine. But like, if we're going to lean into any of that stuff, we're about to drop record money on a 21-year-old. If we can convince City to sell, we're about to drop a transfer record at the club on a player that got 1 goal last season. So I don't know, like, is that ambition or is that stupidity? I don't know, Adrian. What's your take on it, mate?
We have to apply tactics in the transfer window. When we get our fans going about, they go, "Oh look, City have got their players in early. Liverpool moved early and all that." Good. That's what we want. We don't want them coming in for our players afterwards. You want them to get them deals done. I mean, Arsenal now with Eze, they've spent like 250 million. I know it's late in the window, but I'm not saying this window because we started slow with Frank coming in late anyway as manager. But let them do it. Then you do get a chance late in the window. It doesn't feel like a good window, even though we've got in, Kudus, Paulinho, and Romero signed a 4-year deal, which I think those three are massive for us. So we need to have lists when I talk about compiling lists and people start talking first, second, third, and fourth choices. No, it needs to be like you've alluded to. If it isn't, Eze, then it's Xavi Simons. If it isn't Kudus, then it is Salvino. Lists like that where it's quality, which Tel alluded to as well. I mean, and we have to be clever in the window. And we've done well with them young kids we brought in, right? We have failed much better in the transfer window. I always use the expression "failed better," but we have to do it tactically. It's no good going in early and getting our faces slapped. That's why let Liverpool get all their players in early. Let Man City get their players in early. Let Arsenal get their players in early because they pay more wages than us, and then we got a chance. But we should have still moved quicker than we have in this window, because although we've got 2 game changes, we brought in and signed up Romero, because of the way it's all been handled, and it was a clusterfuck with Morgan Gibbs White and Eze, right? It doesn't feel like a good. It doesn't feel like one, does it? But in fact, if you look at it factually, it is. It is to get Romero, not have to sell and replace them and get them over to him. It is a good window. We haven't had a better one, and like
Adrian,
people talk when I say that.
Adrian, is it a good window, really? Are we,
Well, I think,
because I tell you what,
I think people are overlooking the Romero deal and thinking that's irrelevant. I think that is quite a big deal.
As soon as we've got 2-3 games a week and we have to rotate and we're playing better quality teams in Europe and injuries kick in and whatnot, people will look at the window and say it's a disaster because we didn't do enough to bolster the squad to compete in all the competitions we're going to be in. This is not a good window. We've done good things in the window. I can agree to that, Adrian. We've done good things in the window, but it's not.
We haven't filled all the holes, but it's been a good window.
We've done good things
it's
in the window.
It's also a case of relativity, right? Like, how good is our window if Arsenal, Chelsea, and everyone else above us haven't improved to the degrees that they have? Then you say it's a very good window. But the fact is that Chelsea have they've improved in every position, basically. The fact that Arsenal have improved in every position that they needed to. They have. Liverpool have just spent 300 million quid or whatever. Net spend of about 50, by the way. But they've gone and got some absolute worldies in there. The only club that's relatively similar to us, or 2 clubs that have probably had like weaker windows, is Newcastle and Villa. But they've been cop-blocked for their own reasons. Because of financial mismanagement, and the other because they've done a little bit of what Tottenham are being accused of doing right now, which is, essentially reaching for the stars and landing on nothing.
Sean, I think keeping Romero, Bentancur, these kind of players that have renewed contracts, I think that's excellent. I think the signing of Kudus is very, very good. For me, Paulinho is our star signing. He is going to be the link that brings this all together. I disagree with keeping Ben Davies. I think it's madness.
Fair.
Tel, you know my thoughts on Tel. I'm not going to go in on him. I think it's an
Fair.
absolute waste of money. We desperately need a proper left-sided winger. We need cover for the 10. If Richie gets injured, I don't have faith that Solanke's going to do what I'm seeing Richie do right now. I don't. And I think we need cover in the wing-back position. So for me, unless we fill those voids, I think come November, December, these conversations are going to sound very, very different.
No, I hear you. I 100% hear you. And by the way, if Pellegrini goes down to an injury, we're back to square fucking one again, aren't we? We're fucked.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
He's
mind it
brilliant.
if Ben Davies had gone. But the point is, he's one of 7 homegrown. We haven't even got 8 homegrown. This is where this club has screwed up. And that includes the injured Maddison.
That's why you should go and get Ademola Lookman.
Yeah.
Like, not only is he a fucking baller, not only is he even if you think that Mohamed Kudus is the best thing since sliced bread, if you lose him, I asked this question last night. Who is the one player you don't want to have an injury? Is it Romero? Is it Van Ven? Is it Paulinho? But I think you can make a strong argument that it's any one of 5. Because I think I agree with you. At the moment, Richalison is doing things that I'm not sure Solanke's capable of doing. He's got a nice little relationship with Kudus. If Kudus goes down, you have no outlet. You have no outlet because Richarlison's outlet is flick-ons rather than holding the ball up. He's not great because he hasn't got a great first touch. But Kudus is amazing. So that's why I'm saying Ademola Lookman, to me, is a bigger priority. And I don't understand why the club are not looking at him strongly because he is Kudus on the left. He's the same size. He's the same strength. He loves to take a man on. He's got output and he's an outlet. And if you do lose Kudus, you at least have him, who's the carbon copy on the left hand.
And he can play different positions as well.
And I actually disagree. We can bodge areas like that. We've got players to infill. But apart from if it wasn't Paulinho, to me, the other player, why wouldn't Hincapie? This VDV goes, we haven't got no one that replaces VDV. We've got, apart from Ben Davies, VDV. Look, we're going to have to play without Paulinho anyway, right? He's not going to play every game.
What about Vuskovic, Adrian?
You probably see a Sarr Bentancur pivot. You probably see a Sarr Bentancur pivot there, and then a Sarr Bentancur pivot. You'll probably see when Paulinho is rested in certain games. I think you'll see that.
But one of them is going to have to drop deeper, mate, and neither of them can do the rest of the defence. Neither of them are touch tight. Everyone's telling me Bentancur was an amazing 6 in the Frankfurt game. He had a good game when we had the ball. Just go back and watch how far away he was from their 10, Goetze, in the first 20 minutes before Goetze got taken off injured. If Goetze stayed on that pitch in that game, we didn't go. We lost that game, in my opinion, and we didn't go through and win the cup because Bentancur does not. He has the mindset of an 8. He's not paying attention, and even in a double pivot, one of them has to drop. One of them has to play the kind of artificial 6, and Bentancur isn't that guy.
Well,
so if you lose Paulinho, we're fucked. 100%.
I would give Gray more games there as well because he's shown some now still. We've only seen him a couple of times in midfield, and he hasn't looked bad. That first half against Brighton, we lost. He was good against Burnley. Come on, he's a good.
He can't do that. He can't do that against Real Madrid away from home at the Bernabeu, mate. You can't ask Archie Gray to play the 6. If Paulinho gets injured, and you're going to drop into you're going to put Archie Gray in the 6 and ask him to play in a game when you have 25% possession. And you need that 6 to sit there and mop things up. Gray's not that guy. Not yet. I don't even think he'll ever be. He's not that type of 6. He's a playmaker. Yeah.
You've got to put someone there, Sean, in our squad. He's definitely
not Archie Gray right now. If Paulinho gets injured, it's not Archie Gray. It would be Bentancur or Bissouma. There's an argument to say don't fucking sell Bissouma.
Oh, no.
Listen, I think Paulinho, Sean, I need to go. I only jumped on for a few minutes. I'll just say this. I think Paulinho is our best player. As soon as he went off against PSG, we fell apart. And against Man City, he was, for me, man of the match. Just solid. Proper 6. And he's actually good in the press as well as a 6. So.
I mean, we were solid in them 5 games. Away at Brentford 2-0, away at West Ham, we stanked the place out. The 3 European games, when Ange actually changed and you had Bentancur and actually you had Berghvall helping him out there. And I wouldn't say Berghvall's anywhere close to being a 6, but he's got bite. He has got bite, And so that worked for those games. I'm not saying it worked over a season, but you can only work with what you've got. And we're not going to bring any youngsters in because Frank was supposed to be good with youngsters and he's loaned them all out.
Adrian, I think the 6 is such an important position in a team. You need a commanding, experienced player. If you look at the past, Scotty Parker, Wanyama, Højbjerg, these are experienced players. Is Palhinha, experienced player. I'm always very against Burnley putting a youngster in that position. We can get away with it, but in most games, I think you need an enforcer, a real leader.
I think it was a mistake. I think it was a mistake loaning George Abbott out. But then you've got to give him game time. If
he's not ready, come on now. Like he's not going to be a 6, is he?
Well, if you haven't got someone anyway, this is not. I'm saying he's not whether he's ready or not.
I was saying let's not sell.
He's going to play every other game, and
let's not sell Bissouma then. Let's not sell Bissouma then. It's obvious. Let's not sell Bissouma until you've got a replacement. Like it's obvious. You're not going to pick George Abbott over Bissouma, are you? Come on. Like or Archie Gray, you're going away to the Bernabeu or to Bayern Munich, right? The Alliance Arena or Barcelona or any of these teams. You're going to wait. We're going to be in October. We're going to be going away to somewhere that is absolutely terrifying, and we're going to have 30% possession. And if Palhinha is not fit, we're not seriously saying that Archie Gray or George fucking Abbott would have been the right call. Like keep Bissouma, and if you do sell Bissouma, you bring in someone that can be the understudy because Archie Gray isn't ready. He's not even that type of player. Even if he does bulk up, he's not a monster. He's not an enforcer. He's a register. He's more of a ball playing 6 from deep. But like you don't like he ain't like that's the problem for me. Like you do not sell Bissouma until you've got a replacement for him.
I'm done. I'm done with Bissouma. He's been at his club 3 years, right? And
sure,
consistent.
Adrian,
cheers, appreciate you, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Mr. Inconsistency is Bissouma. We need to move on. Then we have to look at bringing one in, but I don't think we're going to bring another. I think Frank will go. He'll just, if he has to go away and pack the midfield, he'll just pack the midfield. You know, he might end up going with 5 at the back in those cases.
You still need a fucking 6. Like to me, it's madness. I don't want Bissouma, by the way. I think he's cooked, but like. You do not sell him. You do not sell him right now. No chance. Like he's the last person that Tottenham should. He might need to pay his penance for doing whatever he's done, and get him. Like the Thomas needs to get him back in the mode of like put his arm around his shoulder and say, "Look, mate, we need you here, bro. We need you." But like you don't sell him until you get a replacement, and we're not going to get a replacement right now. Adrian, mate, I'm going to have to round up as well, mate.
Talk about Morgan Rogers.
Yeah, Morgan Rogers. I'd love him, but like, I'm not going to waste my time worrying about it because I think it's entirely implausible if I'm entirely honest. But yeah, look, it's amazing, isn't it? Like what went from like an interesting story has now turned into a shit show because and the club have come out and basically said like stop believing it. But the fans are only. This is my problem with the online space. The fans are always looking for a reason to have a good old fashioned meltdown. You know, but we are where we are. Just go and get me Savio. Go and get me Lookman and Paqueta. 2 of those 3, and we're back. You know.
Well, we know we want to
coming up. Guys, stay where you are. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to hand you over to Spurs related. Are still going, and please get over to Spurs diehards as well. Adrian, when are you going live tonight?
No, tomorrow, Tuesday show, and obviously Friday's show. I mean, you'll be doing one as well. Obviously, Thursday we've got the Champions League draw, haven't we?
Yeah, 100%.
So we'll all be doing shows on that, won't we? Amongst the transfer window day, looming end to the transfer window. Yeah, so that's about it. So yeah, we'll be out tomorrow at 10 o'clock, Friday at 10 with Drew Zilla hosting, and Sunday with Ian as usual at 10.
All right, thanks, Adrian. Appreciate you. Last couple of super chats. El Dante saying, "Can we just sign Ravella? My guy, come on, you Spurs." I like Ravella. I like him as well. Be interesting. He's an interesting player. They haven't no links, but no links doesn't mean anything, to be honest. As we can tell, even links mean nothing. Appreciate you, El Dante. Big up to you, mate, and thanks for the modding. The Lazy Spurs fan, big up to you, mate. Congratulations once again for your. I think I'm right in thinking that what you said earlier, that Walker Wall, is it Walker Wall? Was it? Yeah. What a name. Good. Congratulations on fatherhood, my man. And Roy Viking, big up to you. Go in with 95 million for Gibbs White. I don't want that geezer. Fuck him, you know. Fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck Eze. Fuck a lot of them. If you don't want to be here, you can fuck off.
Yeah.
Appreciate
We
you,
all-
boys. Appreciate everyone. Sorry,
Yeah,
Deja.
we all want the window to win. We're all suffering for summer transfer window fatigue. We're just fed up with it, aren't we? Let's be fair. But we still want players, even though we're pissed off with the whole situation.
Appreciate you all. Blame the fans again. Sheesh. I'm not blame. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, lad? I'm saying, like, wait until you hear actual news rather than believe in the ITKs, because Romano said that we put in a bid and it was immediately shut down. So even Romano doesn't know what he's talking about. Or maybe he does, but there's other people out there that are incredibly also viable and they say that it's not true. I'm saying the fans should stop getting wound up by information that they don't know is accurate. I'm not blaming the fans. I'm just saying the fans need to take control of their own emotions and stop lashing out at things that they don't know is true. Anyway, like, subscribe, and comment, guys. I'll see you later on for another one. As always,